Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream for the live watch along for Portugal versus Ghana. You are very welcome as always. Gone early slightly, obviously, just to get up and running, but very pleased to be here. Doug has very kindly allowed me to do another watch along. Obviously, did the England Iran match a few days ago, but now we've got this really incredible clash between two, obviously the giants, Portugal and Ghana, who will be looking to cause a bit of an upset, I think. But also, in particular, in my opinion, anyway, we've got Group H, which I think is going to be the most exciting and tantalising of all the groups. So yeah, really looking forward to this clash. First things first. Of course, we do have the team news in, so we'll just go through that very quickly. We will start with Portugal. Like I said, they're sort of going to be favourites for this match, but we already saw, and we have seen actually, over the previous matches of this round, that nothing is nothing is for certain. And obviously we've got Connor in here. Just come on, Switzerland. The Mönchengladbach man wins it. Yes, Switzerland. That was the team that I had sort of going through. I was sort of outvoted. I believe most people had Brazil going through first, but I did have Switzerland going through as my second, I thought, in that group. So it will be interesting to see the way that group develops. Moving forward, like I said, Switzerland typically perform extremely well at tournaments, and it's a good start, getting that victory over Cameroon. We've already seen as well, like I said, that there have been a lot of upsets already, and also a lot of tight games. Already 4 0-0 draws in this World Cup. 4 times there was only 1 0-0 draw in the 2018 World Cup, so that's quite incredible, really. But it does show that every team's going in quite slightly pragmatically, a lot more cautiously, and trying to keep things tight. So, yeah, it's been like obviously lots of teams making sure that in the first game that whatever happens, they don't go out and they're still in it and fighting for the second match, no matter what. Fascinating match between Uruguay and South Korea. Like I said, obviously previously a match that I watched in its entirety. South Korea worked tirelessly and really were compact, restricted Uruguay to very few chances. And also South Korea themselves did have a few chances themselves, including a real golden opportunity in the first half, which they really should have capitalised on. So, yeah, like I said, Group H is definitely, for me anyway, is definitely the best group in terms of the tightest one. And, obviously we're obviously going to be watching along with the other match in that group. Portugal versus Ghana. Like I said, obviously to team news, we'll just go through that briefly. Like we've got about a quarter of an hour until the match begins. Starting off with Portugal, it was going to be it is interesting to see what Portugal are going to go with. But he's obviously Santos has got a wealth and abundance of talent to call upon, and he's sort of gone with his tried and tested goalkeeper, obviously Costa. A player that Manchester United have been linked with heavily. Currently plies his trade, obviously, with Porto, but very much the sort of up-and-coming new sort of young goalkeeper, the real prodigy. And we've got João Cancelo playing right back. Maybe a slight surprise, I think, for sort of Manchester United fans who might wanted to see Diogo Dalot given a game. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal this season in the Premier League. And maybe sort of played Cancelo, towards the left, but Cancelo is the sort of preferred right back by Santos in this first match. And then in centre back, we've got Ruben Diaz and Danilo. Now on that sort of front, people who know me know that I've said that Portugal's most important player, I feel like, at this tournament was going to be Pepe. Obviously, Santos has not gone with that. He's gone with, like I said, obviously Ruben Diaz, who was always going to play, and I feel like Diaz always has a mistake in him. And also Danilo Pereira, who's sort of going back in that centre back partnership, which is sort of preferred partnership that he has been utilising in the Nations League as well. So it's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens with that one. And then we've also got Rafael Guerreiro, a left back who's been around now for many years. He was part of that Euros winning team, an integral part of it. So he's going to be, he's a good decision to have him there. A lot of people might also have, and this just shows sort of the wealth of the squad that Portugal have. A lot of people might have had Nuno Mendes playing left back, but Guerreiro has been preferred. And then in midfield again, Santos is sort of spoilt with options. He's got, and I'll just look very quickly before it. Yeah, so hi says Shane. Hi Shane. Obviously, do love your profile picture as well. But yeah, in midfield, he's got again a wealth of options, Santos, but he's gone with Ruben Neves of Wolves, Bruno Fernandes. I actually think a lot of people have, I think obviously a lot of the reputable media companies have got in a slightly different formation to the one that I believe that they'll play in terms of where everyone's going to be playing. So I think we're going to see, I think Neves will be the deepest lying midfielder. We know that he sort of plays that, deep lying playmaker role a lot for Wolves. So I think he will be the deepest midfielder. But I think, as I said, media outlets have got Otavio playing next to Bruno Fernandes, and I actually feel like Bernardo Silva will be playing more of a midfield role. And then we will see, in my opinion, I think we'll see Otavio playing as the right winger, João Felix playing as the left winger, and then of course Cristiano Ronaldo up front. Obviously, news has come out since I was last with you guys on this channel. That Ronaldo has had his mutually agreed to terminate his contract with Manchester United, and currently has no club. So obviously, I'm sure he'll be using this as an opportunity, this World Cup, to advertise himself in the shop window and really see if he can put down a marker. And also, of course, he's got more records that he wants to chase. So, he made that specific comment within the interview that I don't chase records, or I don't follow records. The records follow me, which had which was a good sort of soundbite. But Ronaldo has done a good. It's obviously, I think he'll want to be that player. There's no player currently that's actually scored in 5 World Cups, and Ronaldo does have the opportunity, obviously, in the next 3 games, and if Portugal go through another few games as well. So I think that would probably be my pick in terms of sort of bets. I think Ronaldo probably will score today. Like I said, he's got a point to prove, and I think Portugal very much play through him, a bit like you sort of see with Man City when everything sort of tries to go through now to Erling Haaland. I think with Portugal, everything again is tried to be fed to Ronaldo, and I think you'll see that again. And I think Portugal have the necessary creative outlets with all the different players that we've just listed to provide for him. So I am anticipating Ronaldo to get a lot of service and obviously have that opportunity to score, not only in this game, but obviously across the World Cup as a whole. Moving on to Ghana. Obviously, we've got, the various players in there. Obviously, Thomas Partey, everyone's familiar with as well. Salisu, Ayew as well. And then also as well, quite surprisingly, obviously for me, anyway, we've obviously got Lamptey on the bench. So yeah, that's sort of like quite a lot of the Premier League players that we're sort of very familiar with as well. But Ghana, like I said, I'm anticipating that they're going to be right up for this. We've seen a lot of time. We've seen a lot. Yeah. So Niall, where's Doug? So Doug is currently at work. So that's why he sort of got me to do the match rather than him, because he sort of said, "Do you want to do any more additional matches?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do this one, and I'll also do England versus USA tomorrow." The England one, obviously, for obvious reasons, because obviously I'm English, and I don't think Doug would particularly want to watch England, at least sort of overtly on a stream. So yeah, I think that's obviously what the decision making process was there. You will see Doug. I think the 7 o'clock match. Obviously he's doing a watch along, Brazil versus Serbia, which is of course the second group game in Group G. So yeah, that's when you'll see Doug again. But I will be doing this one. Obviously, yeah, man like George. Yeah, so I will be doing the watch along for this specific game. This was the game that I sort of thought I've sort of billed as the best game that's going to be happening today. So far, I think the Uruguay-South Korea game was extremely cagey. Obviously, in particular, the incredible stat that obviously in the Uruguay versus Korea game that there was no shots on target, which is, yeah, as I said, absolutely incredible. Really, it's the first time I think this century that there's not been a shot on target. But it was absolutely fascinating game. Fede Valverde obviously was given man of the match, but actually I thought that should have been given to Jimenez, who was playing a centre back. I thought he was absolutely exceptional for Uruguay. I thought Korea were limited to a few chances, and it seemed like he was always there. And also in the first half, he sprayed a few good, incredible sort of raking balls as well. So I thought Jimenez was quite unlucky to miss out on man of the match. But Valverde was good, like I said. Don't get me wrong, but I think Jimenez, for me, was probably sort of my man of the match for Uruguay. If I sort of really think about it, and then as well, the one for me was also, I think his name is In-beom Hwang, which was the number 6 for South Korea. I thought he was absolutely incredible as well. So I think he was unlucky to miss out for South Korea. He's the one that's sort of playing on the centre midfield, linking things up, and I thought he did an incredible job as well. South Korea just had endless running, endless determination, and I think Uruguay couldn't really deal with them. And like I said, if they'd had Obviously, Hwang Hee-chan, who everyone knows from Wolves, he's injured currently. But I think if they'd had him up top, I think they might have capitalised and, like I said, made things very interesting with a victory. Because they did have that golden opportunity in that first half, probably the best opportunity of the entire game, where it was somehow blazed over. So I think, as I said, South Korea, they're definitely going to be looking to improve and try and go on. And I think they could be a candidate maybe now to try and make it through. Like I said, but obviously it's going to be difficult because Uruguay and Portugal, you would think, will occupy the first two spots, but there's nothing really for certain in this group. Something else that's already also happened, obviously, since I last sort of streamed on this channel as well, is that Germany, of course, lost to Japan 2-1. Again, no one could really have called that result. I think, well, obviously some people did because they probably would have won bets from it, but it just shows that you can't really take anything for granted in this World Cup. And ultimately, it could be a situation in the second match, obviously the way that the fixtures have fallen, that Spain, obviously by beating Germany, and if Japan, beat Costa Rica, then Germany are already out, which again would be quite astonishing, really. But it just shows again this stuff. Once you lose that first game, you've got a real opportunity of being knocked out, depending on how the fixtures lie. And so and I was sort of one of very few people that did have Spain to top the group. At that juncture, and it looks like it's obviously early days, but I think Spain, the way that they're playing, I think that they are probably going to beat Germany, in which case Germany will sort of be praying that Japan can't. Even, I mean, to be fair, obviously with the Japan thing, is that even if Spain do beat Germany, it means that Japan would only need a draw against Costa Rica, and Germany would be eliminated. So there is a very high likelihood, actually, that Germany are going to be eliminated quite early doors, which again, like I said, is not something that many people would have anticipated. So they'll have to be right up for it, and really they'll probably have to look to beat Spain. But Spain, I feel like one of the reasons why I had them top in the group is because they just keep possession so well. I've even seen them, obviously, defeating Portugal in the Nations League as well. When Portugal have got an incredible squad, as we're going to see, and we're going to see them obviously performing in a few minutes when this game starts. That Spain have got, Spain. If you keep possession as much as Spain do, you are going to get opportunities. You are going to do well. And I think there was, signs even in the Euros that Spain were going to, might be quite good at this specific World Cup, because even in the Euros, obviously when they got defeated by Italy on penalties, I think Spain should have won that match, and it was just a bit of poor finishing really that led to the penalties, and obviously then Italy were able to grind things out as they did, obviously, and get to the final. So Spain have got a lot of talent, and obviously the goals that they were able to score yesterday will give them full confidence ahead of future matches, because I think that was probably where a lot of people thought they might be weak. The fact they've not got a certified goal scorer, no one who's going to really knock them in, but obviously you're getting goals all over the pitch now, as we saw yesterday. And so obviously if that's going to continue, I don't obviously they probably won't score as many goals against other teams, but certainly obviously if you keep possession, that's when you're going to dominate games no matter what, even if their team isn't necessarily as good as it was obviously when they did the sort of three-peat, obviously with Euro 2008, World Cup 2010, and Euro 2012. So it's going to be extremely interesting. And of course, this game on my again, remember that just to re-advise again, obviously I will probably be about 15 to 20 seconds behind you, which will be, of course, because the obviously my stream will be the stream is always with that YouTube lag. It always does have this slight delay on it. And we'll obviously be getting started very, very shortly. On my screen at the moment, currently, obviously, we're showing, that I think it's the national anthems. Again, I'll have it obviously muted for copyright. And it will just be, again, obviously, the situation of the TV is just sort of placed just above the screen. So that's where you will see me looking when I'm trying to watch the match and obviously observe and keep up with the various things, bits and pieces. But like I said, this game should be quite a good one. I think I'm quite glad, obviously, that I didn't do, even though it was a very, very good match, the South Korea-Uruguay match to watch. I'm quite sort of glad that I didn't do that one. The 0 shots on target and being 0-0. It would have been quite boring. I mean, so in some regards, it was more a sort of game of chess rather than a full throttle game of football. And both teams, I think, were struggling. I think Uruguay, we've sort of seen what their weakness is really, which is that they do have quite an aging squad in certain areas. I think defence, obviously, got in Jimenez, a couple of aging centre backs. Particularly Gone. I think he, again, with South Korea, if they'd maybe had a few more proficient attackers, they might have got in on his side. And then obviously up front, Luis Suarez. sort of waddling around, very, very slow now, immobile striker, was kept on for 70 minutes. And I think even obviously when Cavani came on, he didn't really have much time to affect things. From a Man United perspective, Facundo Palestri, I think he was, again, a poor... He had a poor performance. You can't really expect too much of him because he was... he did have that, he hasn't played much for Manchester United. He hasn't actually appeared for our senior team in the 2 years that he's been with us. So yeah, with lack of match fitness and lack, it's difficult then to get on up to high level football. And I think he did suffer. He almost created a goal for Nunes, but Nunes, again, if I move on to him very quickly, he was absolutely terrible for me. I think his sort of physical attributes, his pace, his physicality, the fact he's so tall and muscular, I think that sort of camouflages or hides the fact that he's actually not a very good footballer. I've seen him quite often for Liverpool, and obviously now seeing him again in the Uruguay shirt. He was quite culpable again. I think when Uruguay had the opportunities, he had, you can't really... I think it was obviously in the first half he got sort of let in down the left hand side with and as an overhead ball from Oliveira. So he couldn't really do much about that, but he did have the opportunity again in the first half when Palestri sort of chested it and hit it towards him. He somehow missed that. And then in the second half, when things were trying to get... when Uruguay were trying to push, he did also have an opportunity when Cavani let him in and he screwed the ball horribly wide. So like I said, Nunes is sort of bringing a bit of that lack of clinical edge to his Uruguay performances that he did have. I feel like he does have when he plays for Liverpool. And overall, obviously, Uruguay, you've got to fancy that they will do. They will, like I said, I still think they will qualify from the group. But I did have them. I did have them coming second. And obviously, yeah, Disdain, thank you for joining me again. Obviously, I know you were here last time when I was on the I was doing the Watchalong with England-Iran, and he just says Sue and hat trick. I'm not quite going to do that, sort of thing. I'm not going to do the entire Ronaldo impression, but yeah, I think Ronaldo would be my bet to try and score a goal, I think. But it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously on my screen as well, just about to kick off, and they have actually now kicked off as well. So yeah, it's Portugal kicking off, playing from left to right on my screen in a way. And yeah, as I said, it's going to be extremely interesting. Portugal know that they can, if they get the win today, they know that they can. That'll give them real sort of initiative in this group with the result with Uruguay and South Korea, and maybe even needing a draw against Uruguay, and they can still look to try and qualify with a victory over, as I said, obviously over Ghana and over South Korea. So yeah, at the moment, whichever team, if a team can win this group, it really does put them in charge of the group with the draw, like I said, that occurred earlier. But obviously, from Ghana's perspective, I think the real target they need to aim at in this Portugal defence is Ruben Dias. I think he's always got a mistake in him. And I also think, obviously, with William Carvalho, I think obviously he's a good... Danilo Pereira, I should say. I think he's a good central midfielder. But I think they would have been better to play Pepe next to Dias, because he can probably cover some of Dias's failings. Because I don't think Portugal obviously play a very similar style to Man City, where Dias has very little to do in terms of in a defensive output. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But yeah, Portugal at the moment obviously trying to keep the ball, get their foot on the ball, play through things, and that's a very... that was a very, very poor touch from Cristiano Ronaldo, and already he's got a foul. So that's a very... obviously I think that's quite a raw touch from Ronaldo. He's obviously got a lack of game time at Man United, as we know, prior to all the fallout that's been very widely publicised. But yeah, it's going to be extremely interesting to see what Ronaldo does, but also obviously from Man United perspective, Bruno Fernandes as well, and whether obviously Dalot can get a game as well from the substitutes bench. But yeah, the other player I would say from Portugal, who's always sort of made my preferred 11 when the squads were announced, is Otavio. I think again he's a player that's really does offer something different. I think he's a player who's quite creative. He's very industrious. He's almost obviously plays for Porto currently, but I think he's a smart choice by Santos, and I think he'll have a good World Cup as well. The more often they can play him. And then obviously the other player that I would say that we need to bear in mind is João Felix. And yeah, Shane's just said, I say 1-1 draw for Portugal versus Ghana. Yeah, a draw would probably be the most logical outcome because, like I said, obviously we've had lots of draws already these opening round of fixtures. Lots of teams keeping it tight, chances at a premium, and yeah, nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to take that first tentative tottering step over the precipice into elimination, and that's certainly probably going to be the case again today. I just feel like Portugal might have too much quality for Ghana. I think obviously it just depends on how precise and composed they can be in terms of their finishing. If most of the chances come to Ronaldo, there's a likelihood maybe that they might not be too clinical, because we know that Ronaldo's shooting accuracy and his precision in that regard has definitely dwindled this season. So again, it just depends on really how Ronaldo plays, as well as obviously quite a few of these other players see what they can do as well. But yeah, at the moment, obviously Portugal have had a lot of having a lot of the ball, but a lack of chances at the moment. It's just those sort of opening skirmishes that we always have in these matches. But we do have a Portugal corner, which is going to be taken by Bruno Fernandes. When obviously all the usual suspects in the Portugal team are all lurking around, getting ready for this ball. Oh no, Bruno Fernandes has come off it, and it's now Rafael Guerreiro, the Portuguese left back, who's going to be taking this. Ronaldo again is lurking as normal in the penalty spot. We'll just see what happens with this. Yeah, so oh my god, that's bound to be Bruno. Let's just have a look. Oh, it's Otavio. I thought it was Bruno because it was horrible. It was horribly skewed wide. But yeah, it's Otavio. I've been giving a big hype up, but that was a poor finish, albeit a difficult one, obviously with the ball dropping like that. But yeah, Portugal obviously have the first opportunity then, a shot which is quite far wide of the Ghana goal. And yeah, obviously Ghana have now got the opportunity now to try and build up themselves. But it looks like Portugal are going to try and press high, which is always a difficult proposition actually, though, when Ronaldo is playing, because he doesn't really like. Obviously, everyone knows that I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo, but he doesn't necessarily press as much as possible. And then yeah, Diz is just saying Leao not playing is criminal. Yes, I actually think he should have played over João Felix. I know a lot of people are fans of João Felix, and I think he's a good player. But actually, if you look at their respective seasons, obviously Leao's been, and I think obviously even like the last year or so, Leao's been absolutely exceptional for AC Milan. And I think João Felix at Atletico Madrid, I think a lot of his flair, a lot of the things that, when he started his career and everyone was very excited about him, I think a lot of those have sort of dwindled under that sort of pragmatic approach from Atletico Madrid. And certainly, I think in terms of like goal and assist output, which you want from a forward, like I said, that's despite you can have lots of other qualities, but as a forward, you do need those goals and assists, those goal contributions. And I think, oh my, I thought for a moment there he was about to make me eat my words, Felix, there with a good run. But yeah, Portugal maybe a slightly sort of nervous, yeah, a bit. But yeah, just give me 1 second. I'll be back momentarily. I think my TV was just experiencing a bit of issues there, but no, it is back on there as well. But Portugal have got the ball back again. But like I said, yeah, I thought João Felix was going to make me eat my words there, but yeah, it's I still think Leao would have been my choice. I like players who are sort of more direct, and like I said, players who are going to contribute. And I think Felix is a player who threatens, but doesn't really, like I said, put in those goal contributions. I'm not actually sure what his record for Portugal is either in goals and assists, but like I said, obviously his Atletico Madrid is not not very, very good. But yeah, obviously Ronaldo at the moment, looking around the place, wanting the service on a plate as he normally does. And yeah, there's obviously lack of opportunities at the moment. They're just panning around the crowd, looking for the inspiration that Portugal and Ghana. But at the moment, they're just trying to sort of build their way into the World Cup. These first games, or as I said, are always like, especially the first halves as well. You always get that apprehensive start, tentative teams. But Portugal, yeah, they are very assured on the ball. As we know, Ronaldo even dropping deep as well to get his touches up as well. And at the moment, it looks like it's going to follow that sort of thing of where the sort of less, and Jade sort of said as well, George the GOAT just got home in time for this match. I think Portugal win this 3-1. I think for me, yeah, I'd go somewhere in that region as well. I do think Portugal win. I think they do have a bit too much quality for Ghana. But the longer the game goes on, I think the more Ghana will grow into it. And like I said, I think Ruben Diaz is very, very, very suspect. So just depends how it depends how Portugal. Oh, what is happening here with De Pereira? No idea what he's doing there, but he has got out of it not quite nicely. And obviously it's back Ghana ball recycled near the halfway line. Yeah, so Ronaldo it's always quite funny watching him press. Come on, press, press, press. He just does it so half-heartedly that goalkeepers and defenders and all these other players can take a lot of time and consideration with what they're doing. But now Ghana are on the attack. GTV said everyone best be supporting Ghana, by the way. I do love Ghana as a country. Obviously, again, in previous World Cups, I have supported them on many occasions. I was absolutely heartbroken, of course, whereas we all know the most famous Ghana World Cup, in 2010, when enemy of football, Luis Suarez, did what he did. And obviously, Asamoah Gyan missed the penalty. But I know Portugal's a country that's very close to my heart. Obviously, Ronaldo is my favourite ever footballer and probably always will be. And definitely always will be, I should say. And obviously, I've also gone holidaying in Portugal quite often as well. So yeah, Portugal is a real favourite country of mine. And I do also have as well Portugal. Portugal are my favourites, along with Brazil, to win the World Cup. So, and then Jade sort of said, no offence to Ghana, but they're the worst ranked side in this World Cup, and Portugal should be beating them. They. The one thing I would say just on the ranking thing is that it's not necessarily, it's not the best indicator, because I think obviously Costa Rica were particularly poor against Spain. Oh, go, 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 go! You've got. Oh my! How the fuck's he missed? Oh, that is true. Obviously everyone knows, like I said, I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo, but that touch was absolutely atrocious. And then GTP saying, enemy. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina's rankings mean 0. They do mean, obviously when the game starts, everything on paper, disappears, and rankings do go out of the window slightly. And as you said, Saudi Arabia were phenomenal against Argentina. Argentina were incredibly piss poor as well. Lionel Messi really did look all his age, wandering around like a miniature Gandalf. And then Disdain, a few upset wins makes the tourney fun. Yeah, it does. We do, if everything went to plan and everything went to script, it'd be absolutely boring. That's what, the entertaining part of football. And I think obviously so far this World Cup, I think we have seen a lot of boring games, despite the fact it might be, poor of me to say that, but we have seen obviously a lot of 0-0s and a lot of teams that are just struggling to, just don't want to get beaten rather than actually trying to take the initiative and win. Which has proved for a poor spectacle in those games. But obviously, there have been other games where we've had goals galore, and we've also had lots of incidents in other matches as well. So I think it's been a good World Cup at the moment. I think obviously the spark that flew into life was that, obviously going back to GTV's comment, the Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, and obviously Japan beating Germany as well, sort of compounded that. So I think we have seen some good matches, but also there are a few other nations who have really struggled so far. And obviously, we're almost at the end of the first round of fixtures. And, as I said, obviously, with all those draws, though, what that does mean is that, probably no matter what, there'll be a lot of groups that are going to head to that final day, not knowing who's going to go through in which order. Because obviously, a lot of the favourites, obviously, Germany now in trouble. Argentina, I think, are in trouble as well. I wouldn't be surprised either if Mexico, obviously, that's the next match for Argentina. I wouldn't be surprised if they, good tackle. Come on. I wouldn't be surprised if Mexico don't try and play that and don't try and actually beat Argentina. And in which case, obviously, if they beat Argentina, Argentina are out, which would be, depending on what happens in the other match, of course. No, actually, yeah. So if Mexico beat Argentina, I should say, sorry, it does mean that no matter what, Argentina will be out, because no matter what happens, obviously in the other match, one team will be on 4. As I said, so Argentina know that they can't lose to Mexico, and I wouldn't be surprised again if that does happen, because Argentina were absolutely woeful against Saudi Arabia. And then Diz has obviously said expecting more from Croatia. Oh, come on, he's missed again. What is he doing? Oh, this is what is happening here. It's an incredible ball in from Guerrero, and then Ronaldo leaps like a salmon as he normally does. What is he? That is just atrocious again. It's just so out of that. This is the issue with Ronaldo as well. Is he's trying to get up to match fitness. He's not been used by Manchester United enough. And obviously his powers are waning as well. So it's that sort of double thing, which has just mean some of these shots are absolutely crap. But yeah, expecting more from Croatia. Yes, I think I was as well. I did have Croatia doing quite well. I think obviously I had them, qualifying out of their group with Belgium. I think obviously it's their group, isn't it? But yeah, Croatia. I still think they'll do well. They're an extremely efficient team, well disciplined, and they always do well at tournaments. And obviously, when you've got a player like Modric, I think they've always got the opportunity. And then Jade's obviously said, imagine the USA beating England tomorrow. It could happen. I don't think it will. Obviously, famous last words, but anything can happen, as we've seen in this World Cup. But I anticipate as well that obviously USA are going to play, and just as a reminder, I will be doing the watch along for that one, like I said, mentioned at the very start of the stream. I think obviously because Doug, might have work considerations, but also I think again, it's he doesn't really want to do, if he has a choice not to do England matches, I don't think he really wants to do them. So yeah, it'll be me for that match. And as I said in the during the Iran match, I think USA and Wales for very similar reasons will both want to defeat England and will both play like their lives depend on it. So I'm anticipating both of those games again to be much closer. Obviously, in the Iran match, in which the Iran team really did sort of give up in that second half and allow England to do well. The other thing I would say as well, just on the it's just sort of come into my head as well regarding it, was that South Korea did have an opportunity where they could have got a penalty against Uruguay, where I think it was Bentancur actually who did the infringement, obviously pushing on a South Korea player and went over, and I was quite annoyed by the fact that obviously the what's his name, Clement something. I can't remember what the exact name of this referee is, but I'm sure Clement's in his name somewhere. He was the referee, obviously, in the Champions League final this year. Obviously, Liverpool, Real Madrid, and the last year he was the referee for the ill-fated, obviously, Europa League final when we lost to Villarreal. Man United lost to Villarreal, I should say. So he's got good experience, but obviously waved away the claims for a penalty, which was obviously no consistency whatsoever there, because as we know, obviously in the England match, Iran were given a penalty for a very, very, lack of again, real soft as you like penalty. So again, it was lack of consistency from referees. And obviously Diz has said, yeah, Jeebus the goat is rusty. Yes, he is. He's I think obviously in other World Cups, other tournaments, he's always been playing, hasn't he? He's always come in off the back of a good season. We know with his personal issues, he missed a lot of pre-season when you build up fitness. We also no need for me to go into those again. But like I said, obviously personal issues, but also lack of game time for Manchester United. Not even obviously an unused sub, as we know, storming off on a few occasions. So and obviously even given like a few minutes. So yeah, Ronaldo is very, very rusty. But obviously he's got time maybe to bring himself up to speed in this group, because if Portugal, I think if Portugal want to go through and obviously do well at this tournament, as I predicted them, I have predicted them to win the tournament. They are going to need him to be firing and fit. But yeah, I think at the moment, Ghana are doing that sort of classic blanket, lack of attacking adventure at the moment, apart from a few long balls. Hit and hope, and obviously Portugal, as you would anticipate, dominating the ball. And again, we're seeing obviously Portugal very, very fluid, but that again is a piss ball from Ronaldo. But now he's back on the ball, and he's managed to win it back, albeit the fact that he was helped by an absolutely terrible Ghana pass out. But now obviously we've got Guerrero on the ball, playing out wide. See what happens, what develops from this Portugal attack. Yeah, so as we can see here, that's the one thing you would say with Portugal, is that, like I said, obviously when Man City are always trying to feed it through to Ghana have got the opportunity for a break here, but again, sloppy passing again has wasted that, and obviously it's gone straight through to Diogo Costa. And at the moment, it looks like there's only going to be one winner here. It only looks a matter of time, obviously, before Portugal score. But like I said, obviously, with Ronaldo being rusty, we had that golden opportunity let through, obviously, and then a piss poor touch cost him. The header is a slightly more difficult chance, but obviously Ronaldo, so probably should be burying that as well. So yeah, Portugal through Ronaldo's errors, unfortunately, are not at least one or two goals to the good. But yeah, it's just as I said, at the moment, it's only a sort of matter of time before I think Portugal will score. And yeah, Diz, we know George the GOAT. He's never rusty. Yeah, I think unfortunately, it's okay. And now Portugal again are obviously playing a lot around the box, but it looks to me like the tactic's going to be to try and cross it into Ronaldo almost every time. So we'll just see whether that what develops with that. I think that's when you sort of maybe want Delo as well, because we know he's a good crosser of the ball. I mean, you kind of want him maybe on a fullback position as well, because it does look like Portugal are going to attempt to keep crossing it in. Because there seems to be no way through, obviously, in the Ghana defence. Very well drilled. Lack of space in there. Ronaldo at the moment, obviously, just on my screen, is obviously surrounded. He's got 5 Ghana players that are closer to him than any Portugal player. So it does show again that the Ghana are sort of trying to mark him, trying to mark all the centre of the pitch, and that's why Portugal are being forced wide by this big snow block, so to speak, of the Ghana players. And yeah, at the moment, Portugal are just happy to keep on passing it around, very sort of Spanish-esque, so to speak, with the tiki-taka. But yeah, lack of cutting edge. Guerrero's gone down, and I think that's going to be a free kick in a very wide position. But no, actually, the referee's decided to play on. Portugal have got the ball. Yes, and yeah, at the moment, obviously, what Portugal are trying to do here is just sort of casually taunt Ghana into coming out slightly. That's why they're sort of playing, as we can see, they're sort of playing it around the back, and then we're going to see the long ball in out. But of course, that's an extremely low percentage ball, that one there. And Pereira's, it's a poor ball overall. Obviously, gives Ghana back the possession. Yeah, what I'd like to see actually in this match, and I think obviously a lot of other people would as well. I'd like to see an early goal, because I think that will just settle things down. Also, get change the tactics, because the longer it stays again 0-0, the more likelihood we are going to have of those really sort of cagey 0-0s again, which obviously, as I said, we've seen a lot of this World Cup, and we don't want to see that again in this match. And yeah, hi Fraser Football. Thank you for joining. Do remember, obviously, to like, share, and subscribe as well. Obviously, Doug will definitely want me to say that as well with the stream. And obviously, as I said, in terms of and obviously I've said 4-0 Portugal. Yeah, I mean, it could already be, to be truthful, it could already be 2-0 to Portugal. So very poor finishing from Ronaldo, especially, like I said, we were slipped through. That was a really, really poor touch. You'd be anticipating any striker to be scoring that, or at least making the goalkeeper work. But an incredibly poor touch, and the goalkeeper did close his angle well. But like I said, there should be no opportunity for. And yes, thank you very much. Fraser Football's already subbed as well. But there should be no opportunity for Ghana to get out of that. But like I said, it's poor by Ronaldo. And if this obviously, you do want to take your chances in this tournament as well. And yeah, obviously, as Fraser Football said as well, yeah, Ronaldo, poor touch. It was very, very poor. That simple ball control, it really is. The pass into him was nice and soft. So there's no excuse for that leaden touch whatsoever. Apart from, like I said, the fact he's incredibly rusty. Now this is the issue for Portugal. I mean, I've already identified Ruben Dias as a weakness here, but we almost saw there in this. Obviously, again, it depends on when you guys are watching it. But Ruben Dias almost got moved out by the Ghana players, and it was almost, and obviously João Cancelo had to cover across. So Dias is because he's obviously, for me anyway, he's incredibly slow, quite ponderous. That, as I said to you, is where Ghana is going to have, I think, might have a bit of joy. And João Felix, obviously, I was giving him poor billing in the opening stages, and that's absolutely piss poor in terms of a cross. And yeah, I see Ronaldo scoring. Yeah, I think obviously from Fraser Football, I think he will get a goal eventually, but Yeah, it might even have to come from the penalty spot, in which case we'll hear a lot of Penaldos, a bit like we had a lot of Pessis after after Messi scored his penalty against Saudi Arabia. Um, yeah, but this is yep. So lack of ideas at the moment, I think, from Portugal. Like I said, obviously they're being forced a bit by Ghana's defensive and pragmatic approach, but Portugal should be anticipating that they will face a lot of this in this World Cup. Being such a strong side, and they should have worked out tactics and plays in order to get around that low block. Um, but yeah, and obviously Ghana as well are very happy to try and play the ball out. But then obviously as soon as they get pressurised, they're very happy again to knock it long. And I think that's what we're sort of seeing. Hoping again, obviously, that either Pereira or Diaz is going to make a mistake when they try and control it. That seems to be their sort of tactic. Where do you see Portugal getting to in the World Cup? So yeah, you would have missed what I said regarding them Fraser football. I have got Portugal winning the World Cup. I think for me, it's going to be the way I've sort of done my predictions. I think it'll be them versus Brazil in the final. And in which case, yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult. So I think it will be one of those two teams, but I'd sort of give the edge to Portugal, I think, overall. They've got an incredible team. What I would say as well, though, is that is quite contingent as well on Santos eventually finally playing Pepe back in centre back with Diaz. I mean, personally, obviously, I would actually replace Diaz entirely, but I don't think he'll do that. But so Diaz, so Pepe would be who I'd play next to Diaz because I think he was incredible when they won the Euros a few years ago, and I think he should be playing. I think age is just a number with Pepe. He's one of the obviously Antonio Rudiger mentioned that he was one of the top three centre backs of this generation, and I agree with him. That's a good ball. Oh bloody hell! And typically Bruno Fernandes is absolutely is angry with Otavio, despite the fact it was an incredibly low percentage ball to play. He's incredibly angry that he didn't somehow manage to get on a sixpence for Bruno. But yeah, Ghana are actually the more. Oh, what has happened here? Yeah, so João Felix has started off quite poorly at the moment, and obviously, yeah, Fraser will see them getting to the semis or the final, and I hope Argentina to win it. Argentina could, but again, what I always say, and I've said this for many many years, is that defence is the most important thing in tournaments. We saw that with Portugal, like I said, obviously when they won when they won their Euros, and obviously we've seen it with Italy as well when they won their Euros. Other teams as well to certain extents. You've seen that defences are absolutely paramount, even more so than attacks. You just keep in matches, and that's why obviously we're seeing a lot of these 0-0s. I think it's because a lot of teams are prioritising defence because they know that's the way to try and stay in the tournament as long as they can. And I think obviously that's what, like I said, that's why I want Pepe to be moved in as centre back because I think that will make Portugal's defence much stronger. And then in terms of Argentina, I think we saw as well that despite the fact I know that come on, pass it quicker. Oh, that's absolutely piss ball from Portugal. But yeah, we saw obviously with Argentina that they should be playing Lisandro Martinez. There's absolutely no excuse for it. I know obviously with Romero and Otamendi, apparently that was quite a good centre back partnership in qualifying. But now you're in the big leagues, you're in the World Cup, and Lisandro Martinez should be playing. I don't care which nation it is for, but he's an incredible centre back and should be playing whichever nation. Because again, he's just absolutely incredible. Obviously, even as a Man United fan, for me, he's been the best centre back in the league, the Premier League this season, and should be playing rightfully on merit rather than just sticking with the same two. Otamendi in particular, I think, should be the player that comes out from him. Otamendi's been a good centre back. Obviously, had a wonderful career, but maybe not at the height of his powers any longer. And then the Rudiger is hilarious. Lol says disdain. Yes, Rudiger. To be fair to him, he's doing a bit too much now. He's doing his running thing. He started off doing that for Real Madrid. I think obviously he was doing it for Chelsea as well, even as far back as when he was playing for them. So yeah, he just continues to do it. And obviously the memes are always very funny when you're winning matches and you're doing very well. But then obviously when Germany lose, as they did, then Go on. Oh, bloody hell. A piss ball by João Felix again. Bernardo Silva sort of passed it into him. But yeah, very, very poor from Portugal at the moment. Santos is looking a bit dispirited. He's sort of clapping encouragement to the Portuguese players, but yeah, lack of fluency at the moment for Portugal. I'm not quite sure what. I don't know if that's a. I assume it's for a medical reason, obviously with for João Felix when he's got obviously that's got something on by his neck, so some sort of brace thing. But yeah, and the referee as well is urging the Ghana goalkeeper to get on with it. So I assume obviously again they're watching out for that time wasting. But yeah, Portugal, real obviously again with the time wasting thing we've seen as well. I think with a lot of matches more recently, you're seeing a lot less actual injury time or extra time now because players don't want to play for extra time, so they know they're going to have the same amount of time no matter what. So they're like, oh yes, we may as well actually play now and not time waste. And yeah, Jade's obviously, I think Portugal need me on the pitch going to dust my kill. Yeah, they do need something because at the moment, obviously Ghana are very well disciplined, well drilled. You would anticipate that obviously if the game goes on that Portugal will have more space. Obviously, as players get tired, and here's an opportunity as well. They're going to need to be much quicker in transition here, Portugal. So come on, quicker. That's it's absolutely who is this? Oh, no surprises, it's Bruno. When I said Portugal need to be quicker in transition, you had this exemplary bit of control from Bernardo Silva, and then the perfect, how they always do the perfect pass into Bruno, setting him free, but then Bruno again dilly-dallying on the ball was that you need quick before Ghana get back in and reorganise, and dilly-dallying on the ball. Quite fortunate actually, Bruno there to get a free kick because he'd actually taken so long on the ball that I thought he was, he should have probably been robbed. I think the Ghana player who hacked him actually should have realised that he was going absolutely nowhere and just left him well alone. But Portugal do now have a free kick. It's quite far back, for about 40 yards, I'd say, somewhere in that region from the goal. But it's an opportunity. It's going to be either Bernardo Silva or Bruno Fernandes. Just on this right hand side as Portugal's attack, and it's Bruno Fernandes. And yeah, it's clearly something they've tried out, but Bruno's it was terrible execution, and obviously Portugal are now trying to win the ball back in the Ghana third as well. And yeah, it's at the moment the game is quite low on quality. God, he's got to score. I think he's blown the whistle. Oh. So Ronaldo has the ball in the back of the net, but that is not a foul. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure as well that the referee has actually blown up as well before the ball's entered the net, so it can't be given. But that's not a foul for me. I think that's just strength from Ronaldo. He's got they're both side to side, and all he's done obviously is just like the sort of shoulder off. So I don't think that should have been a foul, to be honest. But yeah, a bit of a reprieve for Ghana, and now they're obviously attacking. And again, obviously, when Portugal win the ball back here, which they are doing, they need to be much quicker here with the passes through. And that's when you do need those quicker players. Obviously, João Felix, one thing I would say, what is happening here? Yeah, so Ghana are trying to slow up the play here. We can quite clearly see that obviously Otavio is trying to get the ball back, and Ghana are quite reluctant to let this game go on. I think we will see a bit of time wasting here from Ghana. We've already seen it a bit over this first half, and I think it might get, obviously, the longer it stays 0-0, the more we're going to see it as well. And Ronaldo's doing, yes, it's a free kick. Ronaldo's 1-1. I think Jade, actually, I think it was you that said, obviously, about how Ghana were the lowest ranked team at the tournament. Let me just quickly go back and just see that. Yes, worst ranked sides this World Cup, and Portugal should be being able to bring that up again for all of you guys. Yeah, so at the moment, yeah, Ghana are struggling, shall we say, to really influence this game at all. At the moment, it's almost like one-way traffic. Every time that Ghana do have the ball, obviously when Portugal lose it, it's just hopeful punts upfield. And yeah, Ghana obviously are nowhere near the team that they were obviously all those years ago, when they got within a hair's breadth, obviously, of qualifying for the semi-final and going further, obviously, then. any African team has gone before at World Cups. So yeah, another opportunity for Bernardo Silva and Bruno, slightly closer in actually than the previous free kick that they had a few minutes ago. Once again, it's going to be Bruno with the delivery, which again hasn't beaten the first man. Piss poor again, so they probably should get Bernardo Silva to take a few free kicks now. It's Ayew, in fact, who's Andre Ayew, who's made the important clearance. But again, it's obviously a set piece for Portugal. And Ruben Neves has given it to Bruno Fernandes. So we'll see what Bruno can conjure here. Obviously, a lot of players that Bruno can aim for here. But he has taken it short. It appears this is a well worked for. Oh, that is just. Yeah, that's absolutely terrible. These whoever's working on these set pieces, he probably comes from the same school as Eric Ramsey, the set piece coach for Man United, i.e., someone who's not very good at their job, because at the moment these set pieces have not gone off well at all. I'm not quite sure why they've actually got Bruno Fernandes on set pieces either. Even as a Man United fan, I can say that I don't think his delivery at times is that good. But Portugal again this has got to be a yellow card now. Is he going to give a yellow card here? Is he fuck? Yeah, that should. So basically, again, the referee should have given a yellow card there, because again, it was a tactical foul by Ghana when Portugal were in transition. But again, he's been reluctant, I think, to use his cards. The referee, not sure whether that's on mandate actually from the from FIFA. And obviously, Disdain just said, I think Felix is poor. Yes. There's a lot of Manchester United fans who want João Felix at Old Trafford, and I've got to say I'm not one of those. I think when you actually watch him, I think he's one of those players that's very overrated. Oh, what is happening there? Ronaldo again, very, very poor on the ball. Portugal have lost it. I think that it's just saddens me so much actually with Ronaldo that everything's just so much slower and more ponderous than it was before. It's almost like, and it's also such a rapid decline as well, actually, because I think even like last season he was still performing very well, even if you take obviously the goals and the assists aside. I think actually he was still showing like pace and still showing trickery. But this season, like obviously, it's just a steep, rapid decline. I'm not sure. Again, obviously, various reasons for it, but yeah, he's been poor so far. And obviously, at the moment you've got quite a few Portugal players who are playing very, very poorly. And already we're almost what are we, like 10 minutes left of normal time of this first half, and really Portugal have offered offered very little. Obviously, Ronaldo's had those two golden opportunities early on, but since then, Ghana have really sharpened up their defence, and Portugal are finding it a struggle to go through. I think in that sort of regard, probably the key will be Bernardo Silva. I think he's the player who can sort of like have that trickery to go around players and see what's happening here. Oh, bloody hell. See, that's the issue as well for Portugal, is that everything tries to go through Ronaldo, and sometimes that's not actually the most efficient option. Okay, shot on target there from, I think it was, yes, João Felix, and obviously Elevator and Escalator fan, hi to you. Sup everybody, how boring has this match been? It's been. I always enjoy football no matter what, but yeah, this game has been lacking quality. Obviously, oh my god! Right, remember what I said about Ruben Diaz being crap? Just look at what's just happened there. Absolutely piss poor defence there, and he somehow conceded a corner. And if Ghana score from this, it'll be another example of Ruben Diaz and his absolute crap. And obviously, Jade's just put, I'd rather watch Spain again than watch this match at the moment. Yeah. It's struggling at the moment. Again, I think it wouldn't surprise me again. All these, like I said, all these nations, all they want to do is stay in the World Cup for as long as possible. And as I said, it's going to make that final round of fixtures now. The longer all these teams will stay closely intertwined in terms of groups and points, the longer it's going to be one of those cases again where, in that final match, everything will be happening. Goals will be flying in on both sides, and obviously the group will be very topsy turvy. I remember, for example, obviously it'll be almost similar to the Spurs Champions League group, when obviously on that specific night when everyone was in different places, almost like at one point every single team was in every single place within the group. So you'll sort of see more of that as well. And then Elevation Escalator fan, last World Cup only 1-0 this group. 8 at the moment, 5-0 was the match. What? Yes, yeah, that's obviously exactly right. I sort of saw that stat as well. Elevator and Escalator fan. it's just a bit of a shame, really. But obviously, defense is key, and what it does mean, like I said, is all these nations, all they want to do is stay in the World Cup. They've also seen, obviously, with other nations as well. For example, Iran, Australia, and Costa Rica. They've already seen what the price is, maybe for not having a good defense. A lot, not only losses, but obviously heavy losses, which will impact morale and also, of course, goal difference as well. Because goal difference, the closer these teams are together, goal difference is also going to come into play as well. And I believe I am correct in saying as well that goal difference is still the first arbiter in terms of if teams finish on the same amount of points. I don't think it follows the European rule of head to head, which most leagues do. Whereas obviously the Premier League is slightly different, isn't it, compared to those? So I think it will also be goal difference. So Spain have almost got an extra point, obviously, with their 7-0 mauling of Costa Rica, and England have obviously with their 6-2, and France again with the 4-1. So, and obviously almost a point less really for all the three teams who were on the end of those drubbings. But yes, as I said, it's going to be extremely interesting. I think that the pick of the second round matches will be that Germany versus Spain match. Like I said, the way that things have sort of the way that the stars have aligned in that match, in that group, I should say, rather, it could be that Germany will be eliminated after 2 games, which would be interesting. But even obviously, we've just seen there as well that Ghana, every single attack from Ghana so far has tapered out. The only opportunity they've really had, Ghana, was when that. Yep. So when you see those low, one of the things I can't stand, and they do look amazing on when they're pulled off, but one of the things I can't stand is those long sort of dropped through balls. We saw again, obviously, one just a few moments ago. But I just can't stand them because they're such low percentage chance of success balls. And then Jade's obviously, I think the heat is playing a factor for teams. That's why they can't score. I think it might be, but actually, I think it's more to do with the fact, like I said, that all these nations are terrified of getting eliminated, and they've all realised that all we need to do is just literally park the bus a lot of the time, stay in the match, and we're seeing now that I think with coaching has sort of improved and it continues to improve, and what it's doing is it's trying to making more of a level playing field between other nations. I think it might be as well. I think it might be easier now to coach teams in terms of defences, getting them all well organised and well drilled. I think that might be what we're seeing as well. And yeah, elevate and escalate. Spain wins. Spain will go through. And if Jampo avoid defeat, Germany are gone. Yeah, so I sort of said I'd done those sort of permutations as well at the beginning of the stream. Elevator and escalation. You're quite right. Yes, and yeah, I think I do honestly think Spain will beat Germany, and in which case I do think Japan will probably beat Costa Rica, or at least avoid defeat. Obviously, which, as you said, is the least they amount to do. So yeah, I think that would probably my prediction at the moment would be Germany gone after 2 matches. So we are what we know now is that they know as well. Obviously, Germany, they know they've got to try and go all out for it against Spain. But it's how they do that against Spain, because we know that Spain are going to have the majority of the ball, that possession football, the original architects of tiki taka. So can Germany be proficient and efficient when they have the lower amount of possession is the question. And can they get at the Spanish defence when they have so little of the ball? And then obviously, yeah, hello for Escalade Foundation. Never played the World Cup in Qatar. Yeah, I think it's obviously FIFA's prerogative now is to play them at or at least come on. Oh my fucking god! Now, come on! Oh, what's he doing? I can't stand it. Oh, I can't stand Ronaldo at the moment. That was so poor. I can't stand how he's just, or everything he does is just so telegraphed. Like there was no chance he was going to. The pass was clearly the right ball there. Come on. Oh my fucking god, Ronaldo. Oh, I can't. To be honest with you, I can't even talk about him anymore. I really can't. He's just. Even here, look at this, for fuck's sake. Gets in the way of Guerrero's pass to João Felix. Then, yeah. Like I said, obviously people think I'm going at Ronaldo. He'll always be my favourite player, favourite football player of all time. And it's just playing like a shambles at the moment. And then, yeah, obviously Jade said, no, they shouldn't have done. I'd said, I'd rather the World Cup be held on the moon than Qatar. Yes, unfortunately, we're obviously going to be a few years away from playing on the moon. I think eventually, when all of us are unfortunately gone, all dead, maybe in like 100 years, 200 years time, eventually that probably will happen. They probably will have the technology to do it. But yeah, at the moment, obviously that won't happen. And then, yeah, obviously, Elevated Escalator fan, it's good that gave Qatar a chance, but the heat is unbearable, which is why teams aren't scoring. If this game and the Brazil game are 0-0, I'm not watching the World Cup anymore. Too many boring games. Well, you say that, but I think, yeah, you might be right, obviously, about the group stages. But I think, obviously, eventually teams will have to go for it. And all it's done is it's delayed the inevitable and then sort of made us all wait for the second and third games. I think the third games actually will be when we see teams, obviously, because they have to, they'll start. That's a foul. How is he not given a free kick there? Yeah, this half of football has been pretty shit, actually, to be in all honesty. I think it's probably actually been lower quality than the South Korea Argentina. Come on, come on, come on! You've got men over. Come on, quicker! Oh, fucking Bruno again, holding on to it. Where the fuck are the runners? Oh my god! Cross it! Cross it! Oh, this is cross it again! Cross it again! Just bear with me a moment. Just want to see how this attack develops. Very poorly is the answer. Otavio has an opportunity, obviously played in Mike Cancelo, has an opportunity to cross, but scuffs its cross. It's been flails wide, miles wide. And it's a joke. I'll watch many World Cup games. Oh, no, I can. To be honest with you, I can quite understand though that for other people they might not want to watch it because there are these, the World Cup's supposed to be above all things, obviously a showcase and entertaining thing for the world, and we are seeing a lot of these 0-0s, aren't we? Which is just a bit of a shame. And ref is biased towards Ghana. Yeah, I'm getting that sense as well. Actually, oh, here we go, Diaz again. What now? He's playing head tennis with himself. That's a foul. And the referee's finally got his cards out. I think that I'm pretty sure I'm correct. Actually, I think it's Kudos, isn't it? Kudos rather, who's got the yellow card for a challenge on João Cancelo. Yeah, that's a yellow card all day. High foot, dangerous. Pepe, even from the sideline, you just see him like coming forward. He's already desperate to get involved. Like I said, a poor decision in my books for Santos to play him instead of to play Pereira. Oh, well, as I said, I would have got rid of Diaz anyway, but a poor decision not to have Pepe in the centre backs for me. But yeah, so obviously we've got some additional time and 2 minutes of that. Like I obviously mentioned previously, and obviously you're ahead of me, George, the Liverpool fan. Yeah, obviously I've got it on the TV. It just depends again on what you're sort of watching on. Obviously in great. Oh my fucking god, Felix again. Yeah, he's been. I think, to be honest with you, most of Portugal's team have been very, very poor in the attacking third. Even Bernardo Silva, who I'm a big fan of, despite the fact he plays for Man City, obviously as a player, I think he's extremely good. Even he's been lacking imagination, lacking inventiveness, and Ronaldo obviously has been piss poor when he's had the opportunities. Particularly, like I said, that one where he was played through and all he needed was one touch and then a very simple finish. Actually, because if his touch had been good, then obviously the Ghana keeper would have come out and he could have easily slotted past him in about 5 different ways. So it's all down to his very poor touch. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be a 0-0 half time, and very, 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 very cautious game from Ghana, and Ghana have kept themselves in it. So I think I think a lot of people are sort of predicting high scoring game, obviously like 3-1, 4-1, that sort of stuff. It doesn't look like we're going to see that unless Portugal can turn on the star in the second half, and if Ghana get tired. At the moment, this looks like maybe a 1-0 at best. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a Ronaldo penalty. Someone else does all the trickery, let's say like João Felix. But yeah, half time has just come. Game over. Game half over, I should say. Teams that could go through tomorrow: Netherlands, Ecuador, and England. Yes, I think England will. I think we will beat USA. It's going to be a tough match, but I think we will just about scrape through. I think USA, when obviously I did watch the full match, USA versus Wales, and when I was watching that, I think I think USA did have a lack of attacking talent altogether, a lack of potency. I think also as well that it showed as well. I don't think their energy levels were the best in the second half. So I think England, with all of our different attacking options off the bench, in particular, we saw against Iran, with whether that's going to be Rashford, Grealish, and Foden, I think we've got the attacking talent to hurt them again. And if necessary, like I said, the game is still tight. It's still in the balance. I think our attacking threat off the bench will see us win that match. And as obviously as over an Escalator fan said, we will qualify. I think tomorrow. In terms of Ecuador and Netherlands, yeah, possibly. It's I think it's still a bit tough there. I think Netherlands probably will, but obviously Ecuador. Very sort of, my full-time prediction, I would say 1-0 Portugal. Yeah, so you were very, very close when you Elevation Escalator last time. I remember obviously again with England-Iran match, we actually did have the score correct at one point, but then obviously there were a late flurry of goals on both ends, which just saw it. Obviously, I think it was 4-1, wasn't it, that you had? And then obviously, as I said, no, it might be 5-1 actually. But it's just a late flurry of goals that that changed it at the very end. But yeah, I think it probably will be a 1-0 Portugal as well. I think that would probably be my prediction as well. Ronaldo pen, in my opinion. I think obviously the longer the match goes on, I think the more Ronaldo and the rest of the Portuguese players will all be looking for it, with the old dives and all sorts. And I think also as well, Ghana will get more tired and more desperate. And that's when you'll see maybe like one tiny mistake and then obviously a penalty given. Portugal ultimately would take anything. I think obviously getting a win in your first game, you're already set up. Obviously, as Elevation Escalator fans pointed out, you already almost have the opportunity to go through if you get another victory in the group. So yeah, Portugal will be absolutely in earnest to try and win this in the second half. But I think Ghana, by contrast, I think they'll probably be more pleased with the current scoreline, and also be more hopeful that they can get the draw altogether. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting second half, shall we say, for Ghana and Portugal. In terms of what I'd like to see from Portugal, let me just quickly, very quickly, obviously check the Portuguese bench, see what options they do have on there. So we've got obviously Andre Silva. We know that he's a very good forward. I know also as well we had earlier in the stream, we had from, let me just double check so I get this correct. 1 second. Disdain it was, saying Liao not playing is criminal, so I'll just bring that back up again. I think that's probably where one of the players that Portugal might look to bring on, obviously if the deadlock remains. Like I said, Santos is blessed with a wealth of talent in that regard. He does have players that can bring, obviously Rafael Leao. We've also got, as I said, Andre Silva. He's more than capable of getting a goal as well. So yeah, he's got a few options on that bench, or maybe a change of systems as well. And yeah, but we've obviously again seen how a well-drilled defence can really contain even the best of attacks. And Portugal, though, for certainly have not had the best of attacks by any means. But what I'm talking about is the wealth of attacking talent. I would say as well, I don't necessarily think the midfield of Portugal is the best balanced. Slightly remiss, rather, I should say, of myself to not really rate Bruno Fernandes, being as he's a Man United player, but I think he often dwells on the ball too often. I think we've already seen that in the first half, and sometimes he has that lack of killer instinct or lack of good ball. And even on the free kicks and set pieces, I think that Bruno's delivered. I think they've been mostly quite poor. Struggled to beat the first man, and the set pieces have really not worked out for Portugal at all. So yeah, there's been a real lack of fluency. Ronaldo obviously did have those couple of opportunities that we've already alluded to. I've already alluded to many times. But other than that, I think Ghana did tighten up the defence at that juncture. And since then, Portugal have not really had any opportunities. Ghana have defended the 18-yard box like their lives depended on it, and Portugal have struggled to get in it. They've tried obviously the crosses in from the wide positions. They've also tried to sort of cut in on the inside channels and try and get the crosses in, but everything's trying to go to Ronaldo, and Ronaldo's been very, very poor. Probably, in all honesty, Portugal's worst player. Sad as it is for me as a massive Ronaldo fan to say so. And obviously, let's just go through a couple of the things. So, Elevation Escalator fan predictions: Brazil, Serbia. Well, at this rate, so if you'd asked me maybe before, like the last couple of days, and we've had these we've obviously seen this propensity for these 0-0s, I would probably have said Brazil comfortable win, like 2 or 3-0. But probably, in all honesty, if I'm being logical, I'll probably say like a 0-0 or like a 1-1. But I'd say Brazil should win it, but I think it might be a very tight game again. So maybe like a 1-0 or 2-0 win to Brazil. And again, obviously showing the Ronaldo chances on my screen as well. And obviously that first one in particular, the touch is almost unbelievably poor. It really is, because even like a half decent touch and that would have been a goal. And obviously the header, like I said, from the corner, that's a difficult chance for most people. But when it's Ronaldo and he's probably the best person in the air that's ever been, you are anticipating him to score. So, yeah, like I said, Brazil, Serbia, tough one to call. I think most people would say Brazil to win, but Serbia will want to stay in it again. And I think you might see again in a very, very cagey, cautious match. But then obviously, once that match is finished, we are going to see the second round of matches, and you would anticipate that the tension and the desire to win will actually sort of like start to increase, which will be good for the entertainment value, let's say, instead of these boring 0-0s. And yeah, Cameron Ransom looks like we'll have another 0-0 at this rate. Yes, certainly. That does look likely, but Portugal do have a lot of attacking options, and you would anticipate that eventually Ghana will get undone. But yeah, it's not looking good at the moment. Obviously, Ronaldo. The big thing is, though, I don't think Santos will take off Ronaldo. So despite the fact that Ronaldo, I think, has been probably Portugal's most poorest player, I think what he'll try and do, obviously, is because obviously Ronaldo's legendary status, but also the fact he's captain as well for Portugal. I think he'll try and work in the substitutes around Ronaldo and try and give him opportunities, which I don't think might not be necessarily the most optimal play for Santos. He might just be pandering to the emotional side of things rather than the logical one. So I think, yeah, as I said, it wouldn't surprise me if it would be other players who are making way around Ronaldo. I think Felix has obviously been quite poor as well. I think he'll maybe be the first substitute for Andre Silva. But also, of course, like I said, you do have those other options as well on the Portuguese bench. He's got that wealth of talent he's got to call on. Obviously, like I said, Leao as well might be another call, but I don't know really how much how much Santos rates him. But I think maybe, for me, it'll probably be Leao for Felix would be the first change I'd make. And obviously I'd change Andre Silva for Ronaldo. But will Santos ever make that change for Ronaldo? My gut feeling is no, unless he's absolutely forced to. So, because we know Ronaldo will probably have a paddy with Santos as well. So yeah. And the elevation escalator fan, Saudi Arabia to go through and Argentina to go out. So I would say on that, there is a good likelihood of that now, just because of what's happened obviously in the other games. So obviously Mexico know that they can, if they beat Argentina, then Argentina will. I think again, is that a case? Let me just work this out just very quickly. So Argentina would stay on 0 points. Mexico would be on 4 points, and then obviously the other match was so the other team was obviously the one. So it was 1-1, wasn't it? So it's Poland, isn't it? The other team. So Poland would be on 1. So no matter what, so Saudi Arabia are on 3. Let me just work this out. I'm pretty sure. So Saudi Arabia would be on 4 in that one. They'd be on 2, so they'd be out that way. Then 4. Yes. So again, it's every single permutation. If Argentina lose, against Mexico, it has Argentina out, which again is in the same way as Germany. Actually, it's the same thing as that. So yeah, as obviously as Hello fan says, if Argentina lose, they're gone. Quite correct. Yeah, mathematically, if Argentina lose to Mexico, they're gone no matter what. So Mexico, that's the feather in the caps of Mexico. They know, keep everything tight. Maybe get a goal. Maybe obviously Jimenez as well. Obviously, I've got him as well as Chucky, Irving Lozano. Obviously, Chucky's his nickname. One of them can get a goal and obviously keep things tight. And they know that they can knock out Argentina, which would be an incredible thing, really, to have one of the two favourites, I think, with Brazil to go out. And and if the Saudis win, they're through. Yes. So obviously Saudi Arabia, if they win, they'd go through regardless against Poland. What I would say though on Saudi Arabia is that they did work very hard for their victory. They did deserve it, deservedly so. But what I would say is that Argentina did have a lot of opportunities in that first half, And I think if they had got them, if they had actually worked out how to beat the offside trap, the result could have been very different. So it'll be interesting to see whether Mexico and Poland can do so, obviously in their matches against them. And obviously, message from Cameron Ransom. Portugal look far better with Jota playing as a striker. Shame he's injured. Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think they would have. Yeah, they might have tried that, but I think Ronaldo now is just he's just such a phenomenon in terms of like what his brand is and what his name is, that he's just reluctant. I think Santos to drop him because of what he's achieved in the game and what he's also done for Santos, obviously. And then how do you think the patriotism will be if we beat you tomorrow? Yeah, so at the Matron Escalator fan, I think obviously I've said that I think we'll win. But certainly USA have got a chance. I think, as I've said this many times, I think you'll play like your lives dependent on it. But I think we will beat you. I think the way that you're going to have to win is always obviously blood and thunder, work harder than England, but also hope that England have an off day. I think the gap in quality is considerable. I think obviously our squad is much better than yours. So like I said, it's all about how USA can utilise their moments, and like I said, rely on England having an off day in our offensive movements as well. You would have had, I think, Kane's had a scan because he did pick up a knock on his ankle. He's as I always refer to him by his nickname, he's glass ankles. He is going to be available, so we are going to obviously be at full strength. I think I'm not sure about Maguire. Actually, I've not seen what his update was because I know he went off obviously in the Iran game, but he's probably going to be fit as well. So I think we will be at full strength. And I think obviously we saw with you guys that you do. I think you do lack energy in the second half. You did that against Wales, so it's whether you can keep up your energy levels throughout an entire match. So yeah, I do anticipate an England win, and in which case USA will be hoping that Iran can do them a bit of a favour against Wales to keep them nicely in that group as well. I think obviously a lot of teams are maybe looking at Iran as a whipping boy because of what England did to them, but actually I think Iran are very much in this group still. I think they will be a much more difficult proposition for USA and Wales. But like I said, obviously I anticipate England win tomorrow, and obviously I will be doing the watch along for that as well. So do remember to join me for that if you would like. And then obviously Elevation Escalator fan, I reckon Ronaldo will retire after the World Cup. He has said, I'm pretty sure he has said that if Portugal do win the World Cup, which is what I predicted to happen, obviously Portugal or Brazil, I'm pretty sure he has said that he would retire. But I think it might be one of those short-lived ones. I think it's Tom Brady, isn't it, that did the classic retire, and then about a few weeks later he was like, I can't stand this anymore, and came back, which we've seen a lot with as I said, we've seen a lot with over the years. Obviously Scholes came back as well, and I don't necessarily believe that Ronaldo would retire fully. I think he will want to play on, but obviously I think maybe from international football, I think that probably, if he's sensible, if Portugal do win the World Cup, he would retire, because he's never going to get better than that. To sign off as the captain, finally complete, I think, obviously the prize that he'd always wanted, a complete football in many ways, and then retire. But obviously it'll be, so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. And obviously Elevate Escalator fan, even if we lose, Wales win, we're still in it unless Wales get something from England. If Wales lose to England, we beat around by a certain amount of goals, we go through. Yes. Yeah, it's too again. That's the thing else, isn't it? Even now, we've still got so many permutations in our heads about these different bits and pieces. We'll know more. Obviously, we'll know exactly what teams need in the final match after this second round of matches, which are coming up tomorrow. I think the Wales match is the early kickoff, isn't it? Tomorrow, the 10 o'clock one, Wales against Iran, and obviously the 7 o'clock. These are all times are all GMT, by the way, which is the time zone that I live in. We'll know obviously what teams need to get what. My gut feeling is that I think Wales will beat Iran. I think it will be a tight, close match, but I think Bale again will be the difference maker in that. I think he'll have warmed up a bit. I know he obviously hasn't had too many matches. He does have that injury thing, but I think he'll have warmed up a bit. And I think Wales will just about scrape past Iran. I think England will beat Wales, in which case, obviously, you're then sort of looking at this thing where potentially England know that only a draw against. Let me just work this out actually in my head just very quickly. So that would mean that so Wales beat Iran. So that would mean that Wales are on 4 points, and obviously Iran would be on 0, and USA would be on 1. Let's say if England, in my calculations, are going to win, so England will be on 6. So yeah, that might be the case then. Just as because unfortunately, Elevation Escalator fan, just because of the way it's worked out, is that then England know that obviously they only need to draw against Wales, and Wales also know that they only do draw to eliminate USA no matter what, because obviously that would mean that England finish on 7, Wales finish on 5. Obviously, USA, no matter what, even if they beat Iran, would obviously only have the capability to get up to 4. So I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen either, which would be really annoying for you guys. But yeah, that could also happen. I think England Wales almost like when it gets to we'll have to wait and see what happens, because it's all sort of ifs, buts, and maybes. But there might also be a case, if that does happen, that England and Wales, let's say, don't try as hard as they might otherwise do if it gets to a certain score, and then it gets almost like to full time, which I remember that has happened obviously in previous tournaments as well. Despite the fact, I think obviously the games are going to be played at the same time, aren't they, to try and avoid that sort of gamesmanship. I think that still will happen, but we are back underway. Obviously, while I was talking, we are back underway in the Portugal-Ghana match. Hopefully, we are going to see a bit more fluency from Portugal. Hopefully, Ronaldo's maybe sharpened up, had a word with himself in the dressing room, and we're already seeing a bit of fluency here on the Portugal attack. And what is he? Okay, so there's some good running again from Otavio. That's what I do like about him. But again, it's pretty poor. He should probably have crossed it a bit sooner. He's tried to do it a bit further. And unfortunately, the ball sort of rolled harmlessly out for a goal kick. So again, it looks like Portugal are repeating the same mistakes the first half. The definition of insanity, of course, to repeat the same thing over and over again and anticipate and expect a different result. But Portugal have now won it back quite high up. But we are looking to see what's going to happen. I think we're just going to see. Oh my fucking god, that's definitely Bruno. Yep. I was like, who's played that piss poor, that piss poor little pass that's been completely cut out? And of course, it's Bruno Fernandes. Again, if you're a Man United fan like me, you've watched that. You'll have watched that countless times over the years, as well as a lot, obviously, this season as well. He's been, I think, for me, in a way, he's been one of our poorest players this season, which he has been. I think even when he came in, I never thought he was that good. Obviously, a lot of people would say, "Oh, he was incredible when he came in," but actually, a lot of the time, his goals and his obviously from the penalty spot, they were sort of camouflaging the fact that his overall play was pretty poor. So yeah. And then about your Leicester fan, England also have a 0-0 in a major tournament, so I think Wales and England will tie 0-0, which might mean we're out, depending how we do against you and how Wales do. Yes, yeah, I think that's what I'm predicting. Another French player injured. Which one is it? I don't know. I've not seen which player it is. Obviously, I'm not following along on. Obviously, only I've got you guys on one screen, and obviously on my TV, I've got the Portugal Ghana match. Kingsley. Just very quickly, I'll bring it up as well. So yeah, let's go fan Kingsley Coman. Yes, that is actually a bigger loss than a lot of people think, because I think Coman's a very good player to have in and around things. Obviously, as a substitute, incredibly quick, pacey, and offers like a good directness. So he's a good option that Deschamps will be annoyed to lose for some reason. Obviously, a bit like that's excellent defensive work here for Portugal. Oh my lord, is he going to give a yellow? Yeah, he finally has again. Yes. Who is that? I'll tell you what though, Otavio has actually had quite a good game. I was billing him up, wasn't I? I don't know if you were here at the very start of the watch along. I was saying he's a very competent player, very good player, and actually he's had, I think obviously again like most of the Portugal players, he's been lacking in the offensive third, but actually I think overall he's had quite a good game. He'd probably be currently my man of the match, albeit the fact there are very few contenders, with it being such a drab 0-0 at the moment. And then obviously I'm a very Nestle fan, but France might survive the curse. They beat Denmark. They go through. Yes, I would. I still think Denmark. I think I'd probably still have Denmark as slight favourites in that match because they do have a good recent record against France. But so I think Denmark might win that one. That would probably be my prediction, which would then put them a bit more back in charge of that group. But yeah, France certainly, obviously with Olivier Giroud, have looked a very competent outfit. A lot of people, I had them in my second band of favourites after obviously Brazil and Portugal were in my sort of first ones. Oh my lord, he's gone over again. I'll tell you one thing though, Portugal are going over a lot. There's quite Ghana are obviously keeping things, slowing down the game. There's been a lot of tactical fouls as well, which the referee has given a few cards out, but maybe not as many as he otherwise might have done. and this will be very interesting to see whether this is offside. Are we going to see the offside flag? Yes, we finally are, because nothing developed of it, and IU's finally been called off. But yeah, this was miles offside. Again, it's a bit stupid to allow the play to continue. But they have done, and obviously, it's Portugal now who've got the chance to build up another attack. So yeah, again, obviously, be interesting to see what Santos does to try and change things. At the moment, obviously, Ghana probably won't change things until slightly later on, when they're looking to get a bit more time, obviously to waste a bit more time. But at the moment, what is he doing here? Okay, I'll be back with you guys in a second. We're just quickly watching to see how this Ghana attack develops, because they finally got a bit of possession around the box. But it has been won back, and now Portugal need to be much quicker here, much quicker in the transition to get this back. That's a very, very poor ball out there from, I think it was Cancelo. And Rafael Guerrero's been absolutely skinned. So obviously a bar, that should definitely be a yellow card, by the way, because he stopped it. He stopped another counter attack, but for some reason, again, the referee's neglected to do it as well. And obviously, good evening. I'm just out of work now, says Doug. Yep, do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, Doug's the channel owner. He'll be doing vast majority of videos, but obviously, he's very kindly allowed me to do the guest watch along on this one. And then obviously Jade, evening Doug, and sup Doug from Elevator and Escalator Fan, and obviously evening Jade from Doug as well. But yeah, it's just, the game is becoming slightly more stretched now for Portugal. But this again, that's a free kick, surely. Oh, he's not giving it. The referee's not giving it again. And now Ghana do have the opportunity to attack on the counter. Lots of men going forward. Can Ghana capitalise now on the transition? But no, they've slowed the ball down again. And Portugal are all back in numbers now, so there should be a lack of danger here. But they have won a corner, Ghana. And Elevator Esco Fan, any goals come in this game? Yeah, I think it's going to be. It might be a bit of a struggle, shall we say, in that regard. Yeah, nothing's really developed so far, has it? Even in the second half, obviously, what are we now? 7 minutes gone. And yeah, lack of opportunities at both ends. Portugal starting to get slightly more frustrated, I think, that plays and balls aren't coming off. Ronaldo, of course, king of the frustration, really. He's always going to be someone who's incredibly vocal in his dissatisfaction. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when Santos decides to actually make a few changes in terms of personnel, or just because I think it does need a bit of fresh energy somewhere. And that's probably a foul again, but the referee's not giving it. And the corner comes to nothing. Costa's quite quick to get on with things. He's obviously done one of his long raking balls, which was trying to seek out. Come on, quicker. Oh my fucking God. Okay, Octavio, yep, terrible ball to Bruno Fernandes. I mean, Bruno just gave up quite quickly as well, but that was absolutely terrible from Octavio. And the balls obviously come out to Costa. Yeah, this game is this game is really is low on quality. I'm seeing a lot of Octavio. I'm not actually seeing much of Bernardo Silva at the moment. You would think that he should be getting on the ball a lot more. He likes to influence games, he likes to be on the ball quite a lot for Man City, but for some reason he's been very reticent in this game. I've seen a lot of Bruno Fernandes. I've saw a lot of Octavio. Come on, quick. Yeah, another Portugal attack's come to absolutely nothing. Very, very poor. And then obviously Elevation Escalator Fan, you're doing a watch along for England USA. Yes, I will be. So yeah, anticipate that obviously tomorrow evening. And that's the opportunities that Ghana will see on the counter attack. Actually, there, Kudos coming very, very close. Again, a lack of quality, obviously not a shot on target. I'll be very interested actually to see what the shots on target are actually for this match at the moment. I'm not sure if Ghana have actually had one. I think Portugal have had some, but obviously they've been tame efforts. I remember Felix had one in the first half, which was just screwed terribly at grass cutter pace, which we know is never going to be a goal. And obviously Portugal, obviously I think Ronaldo did have not that opportunity against the keeper. I think he did just about manage to toe poke it to count that as a shot on target. But yeah, chances are going to have been very, very few and far between. And yeah, we're just having a small break here because Otavio is injured. And he's actually going off now. He's being substituted as well. So yeah, I think Otavio, like I said, I'd probably have him as maybe my sort of man of the match at this juncture. But I'll probably, to be honest with you, I'll probably change my man of the match to whoever's able to break this deadlock and get things, finally ignite this match. Because at the moment it's very, very much drifting. The four teams, obviously, if this does stay 0-0, the four teams will all be locked on 0-0, 0-0. So all on 1 point apiece. Nothing to separate them. I imagine, of course, they'll go by alphabetical order at that juncture rather than anything else. But yeah, just a very, very frustrating game at the moment. And obviously, that's in terms of like the first substitute when you're making one off for injury. You probably don't want that to be that specific substitute either. But yeah, at the moment, Portugal very, very. It's all very, very slow, ponderous. That's the other thing is that obviously when Portugal get the ball, they have been very, very slow in the build up. It's not been enough quickness about passing or thought or runs. Far too many players just dwelling on the ball. Bernardo Silva is now actually getting on the ball a lot more. He's come a bit deeper. Ghana are picking up a lot of yellow cards. Maybe the sort of way that Ghana are going to way that Portugal are going to break the deadlock. Maybe as if it's through obviously getting a man sent off and then having maybe an extra man. That might happen as well. And obviously, I bet fan this day could only have one World Cup goal all day long. The most boring match day of any World Cup. Yes, it could. What is happening here? Okay, so it's kicking off a bit here. Let's just see what's happened here. So I think this will be a sending off. I'm not sure if it will be or not. It depends what VAR say, but I think it's going to be. Oh, I've called it, have I? Have I called the sending off? What? Where's he reaching here? Is it just a yellow? I think it's just a yellow he's going to give. Is it a yellow? What the hell's happening here? So I think I've called this sending off, but I don't actually know what's happening. I think VAR must be looking into this because what is happening? He's being having a stern word to him, but surely VAR should be looking at this and seeing that I'm pretty sure that was a headbutt. How has he not been sent off? Yeah, so looks like a yellow card from Annabelle Eskin fan, obviously yellow as well. But to me, that should be, as soon as you do something like that, as soon as you do like the headbutt, as soon as you sort of move like this, what? How is it not a red? I've got no idea. Again, there'll be some sort of bullshit rule somewhere in FIFA that won't be a red. But that for me, as soon as you do something like that, which is obviously aggressive behaviour, unsportsmanlike conduct, I suppose they might deem it as, you should be sent off. I've got absolutely no idea why that isn't a red card. But obviously, Ghana have been handed a reprieve there, and obviously we carry on, and that's absolutely piss poor again. Yep. And obviously, Alabama Nesco fan, maybe this will boost Portugal's momentum. Well, hopefully it will. But at the moment, it seems like I doubt it. And obviously, Ghana, as we approach the hour mark, they're looking to make the changes now. That to try and maybe shore up things, keep things defensively. Oh, come on! Oh, who is that? Oh, I think it's Bruno, isn't it? Oh no, it's bloody Bernardo Silva. That was absolutely atrocious. Can't win it back. Okay, so Portugal had a very good opportunity there from some poor passing out from Ghana. Um, that's a foul. Yep. Again, this is. I mean, obviously, I know. Let's just breaking news: Saudi Arabia club Al Hilal are exploring in signing Cristiano Ronaldo from Doug. Yes, I have sort of seen that. At least from my sort of perspective, boys. At least from my sort of perspective, that might be a good thing because obviously you don't necessarily want him to go to a rival club, which is I think Chelsea as well have been rumoured, and obviously to be knocking around Ronaldo, so that'd be quite good. I think probably I think from Ronaldo's perspective though, if he's it'll be a what is the fuck is happening there? Oh, this oh my god! So this Ghana team are taking the piss now in terms of they just literally tried to take a free kick about 20 yards away from where it was. Absolutely, just taking the mickey. This referee's allowed a lot of things to go. He really has. Um, yeah, this game needs a goal. It really does. It looks like the quality has dwindled even further actually in the second half. Like Portugal, every single time it gets to that final third, Portugal just struggling to break down things. And then a very last man, this is for sure Ronaldo's last World Cup. But Messi, I think, to be honest, will make 2026. So I think I think you might be right, but that's only because Ronaldo's declined so considerably. I thought I think if maybe he was like in the and it depends really. So what I would say on Ronaldo is I don't know how much not having a proper pre-season has affected him in terms of his fitness and sharpness. So it's too. I think it's maybe slightly too early to call on Ronaldo because what did I say? Wait, is he given a penalty? Has he given one? What did I say, by the way? What you the professional caller of me? It's a penalty. I said, didn't I? I said it'll probably be 1-0 penalty and a Ronaldo pen. I even called it I called it literally in the very first half when the game was piss poor. And it looks like, I mean, that is very, yeah. So, but yeah, obviously, on the very last penalty given. Now, all of you guys who were here at the very start of the stream know that I called that. I said, yeah, it's probably going to be a Ronaldo pen. And I even said, like, we'll have the Penaldo memes or the Pessi ones, obviously, when Messi got the penalty against Saudi Arabia. Will this be overturned though, and will it be Ronaldo who takes it though? Because obviously Bruno might want to take it as well. I know Ronaldo's got the ball, um, and yes, so it's showing the total penalties for Ronaldo. It's showing he's obviously missed quite a few as well, but obviously most of them been scored. And it's just showing his penalty graphic as well. Elevator Mescalef, I'm going to mute because I don't want to be surprised when it's missed or scored. Well, the thing is, obviously, that I want to be surprised. Yeah, the thing is with Ronaldo is that will he, with his current form, what is happening here? Yes, there's quite a lengthy break here whilst we wait for Ronaldo to take this penalty. Obviously, the Ghana players are understandably annoyed. They don't want a penalty to be taken. I obviously will I'll make sort of no reaction to things. Obviously, just for Eleven Escala fan. Obviously, while he's muting, because he's slightly behind. I'm going to make no reaction. And obviously Shane O'Donnell never a pen. I want to see it back, Shane. But like I said, obviously I think you were here when I sort of called it all those I think that hour or so ago. This was going to be a game for a penalty to decide things. But here we are, and let's just see. Like I said, I'm not going to have any sort of visible reaction. I don't think for a Brighton Escalator fan to see what happens here. But obviously, because he shouldn't be too far behind. But we'll just see. I might not be able to, depending on what happens. Yeah, so that's what's happened there. Obviously 1-0 now. Portugal have got the breakthrough. like I said, a professional caller of myself called it about an hour or so ago that would happen. And Portugal do have the lead. They've broken down elevator Nesco Van Golat. So yes, indeed. So yes, Ronaldo has indeed broken the deadlock from the penalty spot. Obviously, called by myself. That was going to be the way that they'd break through all that time ago. And so it's proved. Obviously, Ghana just one slight mistake. Let's just have a look here. It's difficult to say if that. So obviously, and also the other thing is, I did say Ronaldo would score today, and of course that does mean that he has broken that record, hasn't he? The first player to score in 5 World Cups, which is absolutely astonishing, really, isn't it? So that would be obviously 2022, which we're currently in 2018, 2014, 2010, and 2006. So astounding longevity. Will he now want to obviously, we were discussing, weren't we, just previously a few minutes ago about obviously whether it's going to be Ronaldo. Obviously, Elevate this is sure Ronaldo's last World Cup. Will he want to return in 2026 to be the first person to score in 6 World Cups in a row? An achievement, obviously. I think that's the thing. All these records eventually will be broken. We might be long gone again, like I said. But yeah, and obviously the scoreboard says 2-0. Not on. Oh yeah, I don't know if you mean the scoreboard actually in the stadium, but obviously on my scoreboard in terms of the ITV is showing us 1-0. But obviously the game needed a goal. It needed something to spark things off, and it has now done. So now Ghana will have to be forced to go for it, and Portugal at the same time might be able to exploit some gaps slightly further on in terms of the attacking third. But Ghana now, like I said, they're probably feeling slightly that they've been slightly unjust. The fact that the penalty was a rather soft one might be going against them. And yeah, elevation the scoreboard in the stadium, not on the TV. Yeah. Lamptey's on, obviously, which is a good change for Ghana. But ultimately, like I said, we're now going to be thinking that's now the sort of match to ignite the fire. And what is happening here? Portugal are playing themselves. Ghana have finally come out of their shells and are now pressuring high up. And Portugal are struggling now because it's changed the momentum so considerably. So Portugal now need to be a lot more cautious. But at the same time, there are going to be those opportunities on the break. I think Leao might be an opportunity. It might be an opportunity for him. I think if Santos wants it, to bring him on, use his directness to good effect. Like I said, now the game's going to become slightly more stretched. But yeah, it's good for Ronaldo to get off the mark. Come on, quicker. What the heck's he doing? See, Ronaldo always pulls out the tricks and the flicks and the skills as soon as he's got confidence back, which of course he has done with that penalty goal. He was trying there a bit of a Cruyff or so forth, but obviously he's not the player he was even like 2 years ago, so he's not able to get around things. And as you would anticipate now, obviously Portugal have gone slightly more into their shells. They're trying to protect this 1-goal lead. They don't want to have to go back in. Obviously, they don't want to go to 1-1 and then have to go back in because they had so much trouble trying to break down the Ghana resolute defence. But yeah, obviously Ronaldo, we're just seeing the replay back, him kissing the ball, doing his usual thing as well. But that's a typical Ronaldo penalty. It really is. It's obviously smashed. Slightly higher maybe than he would have anticipated, but it's absolutely rifled into the net. I think even if the goalkeeper gets that and obviously saves it, it might have even sort of like taken into the net in a way because he hits it with so much power. But yeah, 5th World Cup for Ronaldo. He's already broken the record again. Again, it was it's always going to happen with Ronaldo. And of course, it's a phenomenal record and it gives Portugal the lead in this game, but also the possibility of taking a 2-point lead in terms of the overall group standings as well. But yes, again, obviously Portugal trying to press up here on the Ghana players. But yeah, it's a real lack of quality again, obviously from Ghana. Yeah, it's difficult as well, obviously, for Ghana because they've been set up in such a tight and compact shape. And of course, with that goal, it does mean that you have to come out of it. And once you've got a game plan, it's always very difficult then to make alterations to it. And I think that's what we're seeing again here. And then obviously Jade's just come in as well. And that's why Greno's the GOAT. We'll never see anyone again scoring 5 World Cups. I think we will, Jade. But it might not be when either you or I or a lot of people obviously are alive. I think that, all records will get broken at some point. There probably is as well, because I mean, football's only been going on for about 100 or so years, and already we've seen obviously Ronaldo and Messi. But if you think about it, even let's say in like 1,000 years, there'll probably be a couple of other, at least another couple of players who are even better than Ronaldo and Messi, just by statistical odds. There's bound to be players, and records are always going to get broken. But like I said, unless we get cryogenically frozen, we're not going to we won't find out about that. And then you never know, obviously, from an elevator and escalator fan. Let's just see what's going to develop here. But yeah, Portugal are very happy. They've got their noses in front. They're happy now to keep the ball a lot more. I mean, to be fair to them, they were very, very slow and tentative even before the goal. But now, of course, they've got the goal. They're just trying to draw Ghana on now, playing around the back. Obviously, with now they're drawing them on now, trying to play through the press. No, I hit it. Oh, fucking hell. This Ghana goalkeeper as well, his distribution's been absolutely terrible today. Come on, get that. Yeah, the Ghana goalkeeper has been very, very poor today. And yeah, let's have a look here. Oh, I'm surprised. Yeah, so Portugal have got the ball back. And yeah, my score predictions tomorrow, I'm saying Wales 1, Iran 0, Netherlands 2, Ecuador 1, Qatar 0, Senegal 1, and England 3, USA 1. Yeah, I'm trying to think what my score predictions would be. I think Wales 2-1 against Iran. I think Netherlands. I think Netherlands 3, Ecuador 0, Qatar 0, Senegal. Yeah, I'll go with your one on that one. I think Senegal will lack a bit of potency without Sadio Mane. So I'll also go 1-0 on that one. And then England, USA. I'll go slightly higher. I'll say 4-1 England. I'll just back I'll back. So what I'll do is as I'm backing our. Oh my God, what is happening here? Just to allow you a bit of time to put to it. That's a wonderful equaliser for IU. Some absolutely piss poor defence from Portugal, and we've got a draw again, which again is it's Portugal. Haven't sharp shop effectively, and yeah, Ghana for once, obviously, like I said, coming out of their shells, they know that they don't want to lose this game, and yeah, Portugal very, very poor defensively. Obviously, there's slightly suspect in certain areas, and get found out down this right hand flank. Let's have a look here. Yeah, runners from deep. Who is that? So it's come down Ruben Diaz's side, no surprises there, and yeah, Pereira as well. Absolutely terrible, and Guerrero as well. Absolutely terrible from quite a few players actually there from Portugal. Should have been dealt with. Should have been cleared a long time before it did, and should have done a 1-1 Ghana get in. Yep. So that's just equaled things up, and again, yeah, I think obviously it's a positive thing for Ghana and game on, and we've suddenly got a bit of a fixture now. 2 goals. So my prediction that this would be the best game so far, best game of today, the perfect match, which I sort of predicted a few days ago, has so far come true. At least in goals reflection, obviously, with 2 goals compared to the one, obviously, of this morning's game, and the 0 of the early afternoon game. So, but now Ghana are streaming forward. They've got the belief. They're going to try and gazump Portugal at the very last. But will that come to? Let's see now what Portugal have got. Let's see which team wants to try and take the initiative. Which team wants to try and get this to 2-1. But Portugal, yeah, very much attacking. Come on, win it! Oh my fucking God! Yeah, so now what we want to see from Portugal is, and obviously Santos as well, is we want to see maybe some substitutions. Like I said, actually bring on some attackers. because at the moment this is going to drift into a draw, and that's going to again leave things wide open, especially in this group now. Obviously, with no team winning at this current stage, it's going to leave things wide open for that next round of fixtures. Wait, you say 1-1 or just poor defending from Portugal? Well, it's both. It is both 1-1, and then yeah, poor defending from Portugal as well. The thing was that on that one was that there didn't appear to be any danger. Obviously, Ruben Dias again. I've said it about him countless times. He's absolute crap, allowing the runner to get past him. Cross comes in, obviously, and Pereira should deal with the ball. Obviously, goes through his legs, gets his feet all in the muddle, and then Guerrero's not marking in the back stick either. So, yeah, terrible defending in so many aspects from Portugal. We're back at one apiece, and like I said again, it just leaves everything back on 10 Turks. And yeah, obviously a cross in there, but I think it was Felix as well, struggled to get his head on it. So yeah, still 1-1. 15 minutes of regulation time. There'll probably be quite a considerable amount of injury time again as well. And obviously Ghana are making all the substitutes. I don't think Portugal, obviously apart from the enforced change, have actually made one as well. Imagine if Ghana could score again, celebrate yesterday, fan. Yes, well at the moment it looks like Santos is just allowing things to develop. Obviously, it looks like Ghana are making all the changes. Jordan Ayew as well. Obviously, we know him very well is coming on. And also the referees realizing as well that Ghana are now time wasting again. now they're back into things again. Obviously, the urgency that they had for their equaliser has suddenly left them. But obviously, all this injury time will be added on the end. So obviously, your guess is as good as mine how much that's going to equate to at this point. But here he's finally made the substitution for Santos, and it's Leao who's in the sidelines waiting to come on. We're not quite sure who he's going to come on from. Obviously, Ghana are making their substitutions first. Portugal. It's Ruben Neves who's coming off for Rafael Leao. And yeah, it's good. Obviously, he could be the difference maker again, and obviously hope and impose himself on this team and his selections for following on matches. But this is now wide open. Which team at the moment is quite frenetic, actually. Ghana are sort of coming forward as well at the same time. Which team is going to have that extra bit of quality? And you would imagine. So I just said you would imagine it's Portugal, and it is 2-1 Portugal. And the man I've been slagging off pretty consistently, João Felix, has got the goal. So yeah, it's 2-1 Portugal. Not sure, obviously, we need to check whether he's onside or not. But some poor defending, obviously, from Ghana that time. Bruno Fernandes with the through ball, very reminiscent of those sort of through balls that he's done for Rashford over and over. But yeah, Ghana obviously lose the ball quite high up, and already Portugal are sort of on things. Again, quick slick balls through, and it does look like Felix is onside. And it's a really delicate, lovely chipped finish. And for those people who did want João Felix at Man United, of course, you'll be very pleased with this. It is a wonderful finish. It really is from João Felix. But yeah, I think overall his game's been pretty poor. But of course, he gets on the score sheet and potentially a winner. But this game has already livened up into a thrilling game, hasn't it? Seesaw already at this point. So again, like I said, obviously good things come to those who wait. And we're already seeing a good thrilling match that I predicted and promised. And then obviously elevator and escalator fan is Argentina's loss to Saudi Arabia, the biggest upset in World Cup history. One of them, definitely. Obviously, we already know that. The other one that I'd say is let me just quickly get this thingy. The other one that I would say, so yeah, João Felix has got that goal. I don't know if I can actually update. I don't know if I can actually get a score. Don't think I can get a score thing to come up on the screen. No, maybe I can. I don't know how to do it. Oh, banners. Should I have banners? Example banners. Welcome to the live. Has he got a banner for a score line? Can I edit this though? Oh, okay, I can. Right. Apologies here. Oh, Portugal on the attack again. Come on, pass it wide. Oh, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Rafael Leao. It's 3-1 Portugal. And yeah, it's a brilliant. I'm really pleased for him. I know Reese as well. Obviously, as we know, he's an AC Milan fan. He'll be really, really pleased for Rafael Leao as well. 3-1 Portugal. Things are sort of like really perked up. I'll actually have to amend my banner again. Let's get back out of here. Actually, let's get back to let's get back to comments. Yeah, poor first half, entertaining second half from Elevate Lescalo fan. And if you go to banners, you can do that, says Doug. Yeah, I will change that in a bit, but obviously we're just going to quickly go back on things. Obviously, exceptional build up from Portugal, and then yeah, it's just really really good play. Oh, is he offside? That's a phenomenal finish from Rafael Leao. It really is. That's like Thierry Henry-esque, that goal. I'm not sure whether he's offside or not. Um, I think, yeah, obviously they're saying, obviously I can only see the sort of subtitles. I think they're saying that he's just onside, but that deserves to be a goal. It's a really, really good, smart, good finish. And obviously he's like, call me. I don't know who he's saying that to. I don't know if it's like some suitors that he's or like it's a personal thing that he's doing, but good goal from Rafael Leao. And yeah, maybe he's going to be involved. Like I said, obviously when he came on, maybe he's going to be involved in more matches. And already we've got 4 goals here. So will the Brazil Serbia have this many goals? I don't think so. We'll see that. We'll see how many goals that has. And yeah, good prediction from me. Like I said at the moment, anyway, in terms of a match to watch. Obviously, pretty much summed up match. I've had poor first half, entertaining second half. I think actually it's even been like the second half of the second half, if that makes sense. I think well, obviously with Portugal getting that relatively soft. Oh, go, 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 go. Oh, it's so bloody close there again. Who is that? I think it's Bruno Fernandes again. There was a challenge obviously made in the middle of the park, which actually, if Bruno got there, he could have released Leao again. They could have had an opportunity. And as a Brighton Escalator fan, I think Canada will go through with Belgium despite losing to Belgium. Yes, it's difficult to call on that one. I think that group's very, very tricky to call. What is happening here? I think Leao's going to get a yellow card here. I think he's avoided it. I think the referee's been what's the word? Being kind to him. That's not being kind to him that on that opportunity. So yeah, no card for him. But all the opportunities now. What's happening here with Ghana is they don't want to be very careful here because they are streaming forward. Obviously, they want to get back into this match. They don't want to lose. You're offside. You're miles offside. He's not going to even if he scores here, and he's missed anyway. But he's offside. Yeah. I don't know why. You're offside. It's piss poor finishing from Ronaldo as well. But he was clearly offside. Where he's what I don't like. Oh, maybe he's not actually. It's very tight, actually, that one. But what I don't understand is how Ronaldo, despite the fact he's got this incredible vision and so forth, he can't see through the back of his head. So how is he trying to monitor where the offside line is there? Yeah, but he's missed it anyway, so it's irrelevant. They're not going to go back to. It makes no difference either way. But obviously, the game has now flared back into life. Ghana have been caught twice. Some good work, but obviously poor defensive work from themselves, but some good offensive work from Portugal. Obviously, they are, looking to win. Now, quicker! Come on, this got to be. Come on, run! What the heck's? So João Felix is back to his old tricks again. There, he tried one of the most stupid Cruyffs ever. What is he? Okay, now the referee is putting his hand to his watch, saying that he's going to add on to this time because João Felix has gone down. Yeah, very little in that as well. I mean, obviously, I wanted Portugal to win anyway, as people know they are my favourites for the tournament. But in other ways, that the reason I want Portugal to beat Ghana is because Ghana have been very, very gamesmanship like in this entire match. Lots of like time wasting, lots of like anti-football stuff, lots of tactical fouls, lots of yellow cards they picked up for slowing games down and things like that, as well as obviously the potential red card, which I'm not quite sure for that headbutt. Quite sure how he avoided the red for that. And second half reminds me of England around second half. So a fan. Yes, yeah, very, very similar. Again, that sort of seesaw thing. Maybe I'm the sort of lucky charm for second halves then, because obviously I've done those, obviously this match and the England around Watchalong as well. But yeah, it's been a real entertaining match. I'm not quite sure actually how much, like I said, obviously we mentioned this a few minutes ago, how much injury time is going to be on here, but I would imagine it would be quite a considerable amount again, like I said, because there's been a lot of people going down. some substitutions, and again a lot of time wasting in general from both teams, depending on what the scoreline's been as the second half's gone on. But I wouldn't be surprised either if Ghana don't get back into this and make things obviously a 3-2. If they were to make it 3-2 and make those last few minutes extremely interesting. Because at the moment, obviously Portugal do have that 2-goal. Oh, and here we go again. Now quicker, 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 quicker. Oh, fucking hell. Some of the passing from Portugal actually has been pretty poor in key opportunities here, because obviously Ghana are now streaming forward, and they've left lots of bodies. They're keeping bodies forward, as you will do when you chase games, and that will enable Portugal with better passing and obviously better decision making. That will enable Portugal to try and pick Ghana off. But at the moment, Portugal are struggling with those those balls through. But yeah, obviously Ghana, only a few minutes left. They've got opportunities now to try and, like I said, strike and make things interesting. Portugal are very much back in their shape. They know as well they've got they've both hands. Come on, go quicker, 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 quicker. Come on. Okay, now Portugal decided to just game manage this game. No desire to actually get forward. Just continuous passing, soft, slow passing, slow down the game. Obviously, Liao was part of that as well. And now he's going again. And yeah, Portugal are very much just slow, cautious passing. They're keeping the game as slow and as possible. Pass it into the middle. Oh, I can't. Yeah, that's obviously from a neutral perspective. You don't want to see this. So you don't do or any sort of football thing. You don't want to see this like calm possession football. You want to see them just go for it and try and make it 4-1 or obviously 5-1 or whatever. But Portugal just doing the sensible thing. Their points are there for them. They'll just keep the ball now. If there is an opportunity, I suppose they might go for it. But at the same time, like I said, they are just going to keep going for it. Pretty poor control actually from Liao. And now it's quite a few more substitutions for Santos to make. Who are we going to see coming on here? I think Ronaldo's going off. Let's just see here. Yes, so a triple substitution. So Bernardo Silva, João Felix, and Cristiano Ronaldo are the three making way. And the three that are coming on, let me just wait for my screen to update. But all three are actually taking their time off here. João Felix in particular, despite being the youngest of the three making way, is taking the longest time to go off. And yes, we've got two Joaos coming on, João Paulinha and João Mario, and Gonçalo Ramos is also coming on. So widespread changes for Portugal. Game nice and sewn up. Obviously, next match I think is Portugal-Uruguay, isn't it, for Portugal? So they want to keep their players, give them a nice few minutes rest and recuperation. It'll probably be more than obviously the 2 to 3 minutes of we normally get. So just keep them nice and fresh and ready for that crunch match. Obviously, Portugal knowing that match now, if this does stay the same, which I think it will do, I think Portugal will get the victory. Portugal know that, beating Uruguay or even drawing to Uruguay will be a good result. The way that the group's panned out so far, so yeah, they've got a good opportunity to make good hay on this group, and they're very much in pole position because obviously Uruguay and South Korea, as we know, ended in a goalless draw earlier on today. But yeah, so they've made so many changes now, Portugal. So they've got such an incredible squad, which we've mentioned on previous. Oh, what is happening here? Oh, here it's interesting. Yep. This is the issue. So it's 3-2. It's a seesaw game. It's the game again, this amazing game that I've called. And Ronaldo's absolutely aggrieved again as the ball goes in the net, but it's 3-2. And there will be a bit of extra time as well. There will be some injury time here. So yeah, it's just a good ball over the top. And Cancelo just gets caught. It's just, yeah. So this is, for me, what this has shown for Portugal is you need to play Pepe at centre back because obviously Pereira has been absolutely terrible today, but also I think defensively they've been all at sea, and I think Pepe, you're going to need to bring him on for get him on for the experience and stuff. So, but it's now 3-2 to Portugal. It's going to be an opportunity because, like I said, there's going to be quite a few minutes left of injury time, of additional time. Will Ghana be able to pull this back? Let's just see what's going to happen when the scoreboard comes up. So it's going to be a free kick to Ghana. Oh, things are. Oh my, what's happening here? Oh, things are spilling over now. We might see a red card somewhere in here. Let's see what happens. The referee, to be honest with you, has been an absolute disgrace this match. He really has. I don't know what is happening here. Yeah, there's a bit of handbags and at dawn. Referee's trying to separate things out. No idea what he's trying to do here, but I was getting him to hug and what this ref. Oh my, he's been absolutely atrocious. He might actually be the worst ref at this tournament I've seen so far in the matches I've watched. What is he? He's just wasting. He's wasting his own time here. It's been about a minute since the foul, and already obviously he stopped the confrontation, but now he's delivering a 2-minute sermon before he's given these yellow cards. Absolute trash. And yeah, elevator and escalator fan. What a second half indeed. Yes, the game has sprung into life, obviously with the goals and 5 goals altogether. And yeah, it's been really really even. Oh, okay, 9 extra minutes. So this is going to be obviously with that amount of additional time. It's a real opportunity for Ghana to get the draw. And what a game this would be if it was to end 3-3. Pumped into the mixer. Portugal defending obviously again in numbers, and this is what happens as well for Portugal and Portugal's thing. I know they're obviously doing it for game management, but they weren't able to keep the ball, and obviously there's a lack of urgency. And it's a goal kick to Portugal, so they've survived another attack, another onslaught from Ghana. And Danilo Pereira is still arguing. He should more be arguing with himself, actually, Danilo Pereira, because his game today has been absolutely shit. and like I said, Pepe on the bus or whatever, the coach home, should be haranguing Santos to get himself to play, because he's got to be playing in that centre back, because shipping in 2 goals to Ghana. Obviously, Jade already spoke about the lowest ranked team in the tournament. That's very very poor from Portugal when they did so well offensively. And who could have solved this half-time elevator? Yeah, you're quite correct. And obviously, yeah, so it's about the 9 minutes of extra time. Yeah, it really has livened up. It's almost like we had those sort of that opening half, which was very very poor, but obviously the second half has just been absolutely brilliant. I think that second half, obviously, of the second half, things have really sort of grown into life, and now everything's on the line. That second Ghana goal has made this last, obviously all this additional time that they now give out. So still another 7 minutes to go. It's going to make it very extremely interesting, and it's whether Portugal are able to hold out, or Ghana can actually make things interesting, but not with opportunities like that. Ghana have been obviously it's Tarek Lamptey who's done it, and now Portugal are trying to waste time, and the referee's got no. I don't know what the referee's doing here. I think he's trying to stop the time wasting. But yeah, this referee really has been a comedy act the entire way through. He's almost been the absolute star, actually, of this entire match. If we're taking the entire match into consideration, Costa appears to be slowing things down. But obviously, again, I suspect that all the additional time on top of this for these wastes of time will also be added on as well. So we could see, or we could and probably will see this match hit into the hundreds as well, as we've seen a lot of matches in this tournament do so. But now Portugal probably going to try and head for the corner as well here. Yep, he's going to head for the corner, but really should be. Yes. Yeah, so obviously they're saying as well, I can just sort of see on the subtitles as well, grandstand finish. Yes, that's ultimately what we are heading for. Bruno Fernandes has won a good foul. And Portugal, as you can appreciate and understand, are taking absolutely no time, are taking all their time in the world to take this free kick. Waste as much time as possible. Bruno Fernandes has now moved away from the free kick in order to allow. Oh my days, that's terrible. And Ghana are passing all the way through it. Go, 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 go now. Quicker. Oh, it's Liao. Oh, there was an opportunity there for 4-2. Liao just slightly, hit an errant pass. Ghana obviously committing people forward. Costa's out of his goal. What's he going to do? Oh, he's taking a touch. Oh, oh my lord. Oh, Oh, he's out his goal, is he? Oh no, he's got his run back. Oh, this match has been incredible. Bruno Fernandes has given away a foul, but Ghana are taking it quickly. Bruno with two assist thoughts. Yes, obviously that's the thing really that encapsulates Bruno. I was already talking about it sort of in the halfway through the second half, is that overall his play is poor, but sometimes those goals and assists do camouflage things, and no doubt, go on, pass it, pass it, pass it, go, go, go. Oh no. He's, oh, this is incredible. Good tackle. Go on, go on, go on. Get it wide. Oh, you. Okay, yeah, Portugal are slowing things down again. And yeah, another yellow from 11 Escalade fan. It has been a very dirty match, hasn't it? Lots of yellow cards. Probably should have been a red, like I said, for that headbutt a while back. But yeah, this has been a really frenetic match. End-to-end thriller. In many ways, actually, is it not? I think this has probably been the most thrilling match in terms of both sides going at it overall in the tournament, hasn't it? I think we've had a lot of goals in other matches, but obviously they've been quite one-sided. Maybe the only other match you could maybe say about obviously is Saudi Arabia, Argentina. Obviously had a fewer goals again. Bruno Fernandes has just absolutely leathered the ball at Lamptey, but he is now saying sorry to the youngster. But yeah, Ghana. Oh, this is the thing. I do wish that Ghana were actually in another group, because I do love Ghana as a country and obviously as a footballing nation. But yeah, it's tough really that they're in this group. Really, the toughest group, I think, Group H. Oh, but Portugal have lost it, and now Portugal are just trying to keep things ticking over. Um, now going into the corner. That's a foul. What has happened here? Is he given a? What's he? What's he? Oh, the referee's getting involved again. Oh, this referee needs it. He deserves like a movie role after this, as like a bit part in something, some sort of comedy. He's at it again. He's squaring up to people. He's getting all their faces. Um, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be Liao as the winner, the match winner, with the goal. We've only got a couple of minutes left of this additional time, and Bruno's just instead of doing a short pass, Bruno's just hit this will serve him right as well. Actually, Portugal right if doing this is going to cost them, because Ghana have now retrieved the ball. We've still got another 2 minutes left of time, and Ghana have managed to play it up the field. And he skinned the player, but that's good covering across, good tracking. I think that was Cancelo. We're already going away, but yeah, probably at least another 2 minutes left. And Ghana are going to get it into the mixer, but it's safely over. Costa's watched it. Pretty poor actually from Ghana there. Probably should have tried to keep the ball in play as much as possible and get it into the box and work an opportunity, because they're not going to have that many more left. But only 1 minute left of what was originally set to be additional time. But I would say maybe it's going to be another 2 minutes on top of that, with all the additional phrase and malaise which the referee has had to sort out. Ronaldo we're now focusing on. He's looking apprehensive, anxious. So is Delo. They're apparently still on speaking terms, despite the fact that, well, I suppose it would be obviously after Ronaldo particularly praised him in his interview. But all the Portugal players as one. I think he's shouting. Ronaldo shouting, "Get him in the corner! Get in the corner flag!" He's doing his usual managerial role. And can Ghana do it? Elevator and escalator fan. I don't think so at the moment, but it's poor game management at the moment from Portugal. They've not really kept hold of the ball and tried to manage this game well. There's probably going to be maybe like one chance more for Ghana in order to equalise. We are now almost at the end of the 9 minutes, and like I said, how much time will this referee add on? Because there have been incidents within the additional time that should warrant maybe at least another 2 minutes, I'd say, of additional time. But yeah, Ghana at the moment, it's not where they want the ball. They've got the ball's now deep in the Ghana half. They just need to get it anywhere will do. Just pump it up the field. They're trying to pass it out quite slowly, and Portugal are all trying to track back. But Ghana have actually worked the ball over. And the ball's coming across, and no one's marking him. But Costa's caught it, and the Costa has gone down as though he's going to stay down for the entire rest of the match. and Ronaldo in particular is saying, "Boot it, get it clear, get it clear." And that probably might be it now. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh my fucking! I actually can't believe what happened. It's full time. It's full time, but I've got absolutely no idea what happened at that very end bit. The camera just seemed to come back, and it seemed like Costa had lost it. And I think they're going to show the replay now. Let's just have a look. So he wasn't aware that the Garda player was right behind him, and he drops it. Oh God! What? He slips as well, doesn't he? Oh yeah. Oh my days, indeed. Elevator and escalator fan. Fucking hell! Look at Ronaldo's face. Oh my God. That would have been one of the best endings to a World Cup match. I mean, it already was anyway, in terms of like, what the closeness that happened. But they were already speaking, weren't they, about the amount of players that have slipped. And it was just at that key moment as he came from like the position like right behind him, and all those cheeky goals. Just that key moment, he comes running in and slips, doesn't he? And if he doesn't slip, I think he has an easy opportunity to equalise. Portugal is so lucky there. But yeah, that's an incredible end to a match. Overall, incredible match. I think once we take into consideration everything, it really was quite poor. I think in first half and for a bit of the second half, but then once the first goal went in, the penalty from Ronaldo, which was slightly soft, we then saw a totally transformed match. It became this incredible, seesaw match, really entertaining, thrilling, and even at the end, it sort of summed up, didn't it? That opportunity that Ghana had, Costa, luckily, fortunately, with his decision making, and then Shea given "Eat Your Heart Out" from Doug. Yes, no, that was terrible goalkeeping from Costa. The first thing you do as a goalkeeper is literally do like the side to side check, which he didn't do, especially at a key opportunity, and that could really have cost Portugal at that point. And obviously, it's like Edison against Liverpool, so the Elevator and Escalator fan, yes. And then obviously Doug saying, "See you guys in half an hour for Brazil versus Serbia. Well done, George." Yes, so that's just to make all you guys aware. So do remember to like, share, and subscribe, obviously. And thank you very much for joining me on the watch along. And obviously, as Doug said, the next thing, guys, up for you guys is obviously turn your notification bells on and so forth, because the next live will be Brazil versus Serbia. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in and supporting. And obviously, the next time you'll see me on this channel will be England versus USA, which will be tomorrow night. We will be doing a live watch along, and I will be hosting that for that. But yeah, fantastic game, very good, and yeah, good win for Portugal. And enjoy the rest of your days and evenings, and do remember to tune in with Doug this evening. So thank you very much.